Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Button 91. We are giving you guys our distinguished men's panel. We're going to be talking today about a very important topic. It's more for the ladies, but it's for the man them too. You can learn a thing or two how not to do this, brother. We want you to change. But we're going to be talking on tips how not to get played by men. We're going to give you just a little dosage, of some things to look out for when you are dating men, how not to get played. Okay, so I am not alone. I am joined by the fabulous Corey Black. He's here to help us talk some real stuff today. Corey, how you doing today, big man?
I'm good, man. I'm here. Blessed.
That's
Ready.
my guy. I like it. But listen, in fact, let me just say to audience, if you're here and you're in the chat, leave a little comment in there. Let us say hi, say something. Let us know that you're ready and available to have this conversation, because I will be using your comments and asking questions as well. If you want to get them answered, put them in the chat for us as well. All right, cool. So we're talking about tips on how not to get played by men. This is obviously one of those topics, it's the kind of conversation you have with your sister, the kind of conversation you have, with one of your family cousins.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Let them know that, hey, now don't do this now, because we're gonna play you. But what's your kind of thoughts just on the topic itself? How important is this topic, do you think, for women to understand? How important is it for women to understand this kind of topic?
I think it's extremely important. I think everything starts with self first. You have to know, you have to respect yourself, know what you're willing to deal with, know what you're not willing to deal with before we even get this conversation started. You have to know yourself first and already have the standard set. So yeah, very important.
I love that as well. And I want to jump off your point, which is knowing thyself. Self awareness really is an understanding of your thoughts, and how they contribute towards behavior, and understanding how your behavior impacts others. So, if we're talking about the subject about how not to get played by men, yes, we're happy to break down and give that free game, but it's also as well about being accountable, and being and also taking stock of situations. I was just talking to a friend, and they were talking about their situation. In fact, no, I was watching a video. Apologies, I was watching a video myself in the winter that we did a few weeks back, and she described a moment where obviously her husband had cheated on her and everything like that. But she said when she looks back on it, she realized that she wasn't emotionally as available as she needed to be. That doesn't mean she was giving him an excuse. She was just looking back and seeing what could I have done better. And it was the fact that, hey, look, there are things I could have changed about me to bring my best self to the relationship. So
Mhm.
just going back on that again, Corey, about the your face is telling me everything.
I mean, because you're making good points. Because I think at any level in a relationship, we do have to look at ourselves first before we start to point the finger at if the man is wrong, if the woman is wrong. Let's ask ourselves that very important question: was there something in this relationship that I could have done better to make this relationship last? What part did I take in the demise of this relationship? What part did I take in the success of this relationship? So I think it's a valid point. That's why I was looking at. Well, good job.
No, and you're absolutely right. And then this is such an important thing, because when we talk about the situation, what the reason why I'm mentioning that and the reason why we're talking about it is because, you know, what can happen is you can go, woe is me. And like, I wish it wasn't that. Why did I have to go through this thing? Or, it is the other side. They just, they don't know how to treat a woman. They don't know how to be kind to a woman. They don't know how to love a woman. And you're right. Look, all those things are right. But why does it have to keep being you?
Mhm.
Like, that's the key question you want to ask. Why is it always you? Why are you the one that's always on the end of these cons? Because you have to really think about it, right? Like, we grew up in the hood, right? So we grew up in the ends. I grew up in the hood, and it's like, if I know I take a certain route and I keep getting robbed on that certain route, I'm gonna change the route. I might I might have to go through the back way. I might have to change the time that I leave. I'm gonna do something to change because I want a different result. Now, of course, that's a very arbitrary example, but what I'm trying to say is that in order to get a different output, there must be a different input. And in that input, it's looking at what do I have to do, or what am I doing that's contributing towards certain behaviors that are coming towards me, bro. Go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. The age old saying is, if you're doing the same thing and expecting a different response, it's insanity.
Mm,
You don't want to drive yourself crazy thinking that it's somebody else when it's actually you. Some things about yourself you can actually tweak and kind of correct in a situation. I think that it's very important to be able to have that ability to not always pick the same type of man. You know,
Mm.
there's a lot to learn from different types of men. I know you have a type. I know you have a standard. I know you have a preference, and everyone's entitled to their preference. But if you just take a step and just understand other men, that'll help you become a better woman for the relationship, because men grow, men change as well. So if you date different types of men, those personalities may come up in your current relationship eventually at one point or another one. So it's very important to do so.
Great point again as well, because you touched on preference as well, and this is also important because these are all the kind of prefixes before we get to like breaking down the game, which is we're asking these key components before we get to the final buck stop to say, okay, do you know what, maybe you just got played, right? But we want to get to that first thing to make sure there's nothing that you yourself is drawing you towards a certain type of male. I remember we spoke about this in the men's panel maybe some months back in December and stuff, and I was, oh sorry, November and stuff, and I was saying we were talking about the kind of women that we liked when we were younger, right? Like I kept on dealing with certain chicks that have, they like an argument because I liked an argument. I really did like an argument. I liked the girl that had a bit of fire in her. I liked the girl that had a bit of spice about her. And then I'm complaining at the end, like, why am I dealing with girls that are just spicy and always having an argument with me? I'm tired. I want peace. And I had to look at myself. What am I emanating? What am I giving off? And is am I contributing towards my own downfall in the end when I'm not looking at what I'm bringing to the table to now get myself to tell them? Because look, there are going to be always bad type of men out there. You
Mhm.
probably more than likely might not able to dodge every single one. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is, once you've tasted the badness and you tasted the con the first time, one must learn from the con. You know what I mean?
You know what? What's interesting about that? You said there's some bad men out there. I mean, it may not make that much sense, but there's some good bad, and then you have bad bad.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that, ladies, is that you can be in a relationship with a man, and you may not sometimes like the way he speaks. Like he's very direct. He's too direct for you. But sometimes when he's being direct, it can be a turn on. Other times it's a turn off. So you're not willing to lose that essence of who that man is because of that aspect of him that is kind of like a turn on, because him taking charge, him having an authoritative voice and he can speak up for himself. That's something that's attractive to you. So I've learned that some things bad that men have within us, when we show this to our woman, she sees it as a bad thing, but not bad enough to leave the relationship, not bad enough to call him out on it. Just something they get in their head. If you hear something, okay, all right, I need to go to the other room now, or I need to leave for a minute because he's acting this way. But it's not enough to leave the relationship. I think it's very important to know which bad is the one for you to leave, and which bad can be toxic, which bad can be okay. This is just who he is. This is what's so much. I would say proof that he's human. You know, it's such thing as being too good. He's too
Hmm.
clean. You know, he's nothing's wrong with it. We never argue. Nothing ever comes up with us. But if you're in a relationship where you see that it's a little bit bad there, but it's not toxic. It's not making you cry every day. It's not making you wonder if you should be in this relationship and not talking to family members, talking to friends, say, girl, help me out. You know, those are different types of relationships. So different type of responses.
I love that as well, and it kind of really links into this comment here, which Estella's just made as well. She's met a bunch of wounded men, and you're absolutely right. There are a lot of wounded men out there, and this is why I'm saying that again. Even though there are many wounded men out there, I ask, like, this is the thing. If you saw someone with a missing leg, would you know they had a leg missing? You would know, right? Because you can see it, right? Because you yourself know what healthy looks like, right? If you don't know what healthy looks like, that the wounded person, you're with them. The toxic person, you're also toxic with them. The person is abusive, you're also abusive with them because you don't even know what healthy looks like. You think you do, but if you did, then it would be avoiding these type of people because what happens is you start to weed these people out. Like that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying earlier on about how I was choosing these type of women, right? Or I was at least attracted to these type of women. Do you know what? I used to love a girl in a tracksuit. I like the hood gal. I love the hood girl. I like the girl that wears the braids. That's a bit, rough around the edges. I like it, bro. But I was just getting into trouble, bro. Do you know what I mean? But I realized that okay, my filter of what I see as what I find attractive versus what I should be going for is off. See, you can find someone attractive. You don't. I don't have to be. I don't. I can find someone attractive. I don't have to be attracted. I mean, I don't have to go after the person. There are many women in this world that I find very attractive. There are many women I'm not going after also because I realize they do not meet my filters and my criterias, and they don't match my flow. And I think that's really important about when we're talking about not getting played by men is that if you don't know what your filter is, if you don't know what you exactly need, then there are always going to be men who can fit the puzzle. There are always going to be men who aren't necessarily according to what you actually need, but you're just going to take, okay, he has one or two criteria that I like. Okay, one or two things that I like, and then you'll choose them. And in the case of being wounded, this is why it's especially for women, it's so even because obviously the ratio of terms of men to women, it's even more prominent and important for women to do the healing work because there are so many wounded men out there who are
Mhm.
going to move mad. Now,
Mhm.
it could be easy to say, why don't you talk to the men and get the change? They ain't going to change. So, what we're going to do about it, right? We want you in a relationship. So, we need the women to kind of see, like, hey, if you're continually meeting wounded men, there might be some wounds that you're having yourself, and you're thinking you're better than him, and you're not. You're in the same position, right? So, it's when you're healed, you should be able to see healed. Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean? You should be able to see, oh, he's got his leg is missing. I've got two legs. That's it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying the men don't need to heal. This is SLR. This is what I mean. This is beautiful. I love this. I am never saying that men shouldn't heal, but that is what I'm talking about. A moment you pull it onto well, men need to heal as well. Yeah, but that's not going to solve your issue.
Mhm.
That's what I'm talking about. That won't solve your issue. Telling us I need to tell the men to be healed, I get it. I've just told you that. But I said that won't solve your issue. See, if you continually put it on, well, men need to do this, men need to, then you won't solve your issue. You're trying to solve a generational issue. You're trying to solve the issue for the rest of the women out of the world. No, you're trying to solve your issue. Meaning, I get it. Those men are going to be wounded and they continue to be wounded, but you don't have to be with them. That's my point. Do you know what I'm saying? Don't even jump
Mhm.
in there, bro.
Yeah, so I agree with you saying 100%. And what it really boils down to what you're saying to the ladies is that, hey, ladies, yes, we know there are bad men out there. We can't always do something about, we can't change someone else's behavior, but we can change ours. We're not responsible for anyone else's behavior, but we are responsible for ours. So what we're trying to do now, ladies, is try to get you guys to do a better, excuse me, do a better job at picking because the bad men are out there as well as the good men are out there. But how you select those men and what you're willing to put up with, that's the difference maker. Because if you see a bad man that's out there that needs to heal, yeah, true, men do need to heal, but that doesn't mean you have to go for that man that needs that healing. That means that you need to have the discernment to know, okay, which one is which, and the one that you need to go to that's going to provide you more of a healthy relationship. And what I would suggest because we get older and older. And when we get older, we mature. Every relationship is a lesson. Every relationship is a lesson. I repeat that. So, what I would suggest is that do a top three. Now, I could say top 10, I could say top 20, but let's do a number that we can process. Do top three things that you love about your previous relationship or current relationship, and three things that you dislike about your previous relationship. Okay, and those things that you dislike, no, put those in a no fly zone. Like never again will I deal with a man that has these type of things going on. Okay, but those three things you know that you love. So look for those same type of things that make you happy into your next relationship, and it keeps growing after that. If the next relationship come up, three things you like most about that, three things you hate like most about it. So that list can change because, like I said, you grow at each relationship. You learn after each relationship. And this is going to tell you a lot about who you are. It's going to tell you about a lot about the men that you choose and then making the right decision to choose the right one in the future. So yeah. What's up, Sean?
Good seeing you, Sean. Yeah, it's such a key thing what you're saying here as well, and I'm also trying to be intentional, not to try and be too hard on a woman, but I want to drum it home because something that I think for what women can testify to this. When you see red pill, you get pissed off, right? We all get pissed off. When we see the men that are crying in the saying, women have played us, women are this, women are that, women are this. When people whinge, right, when about things that they can change themselves, everybody gets vexed. Everyone's like, why are you still whinging about it? You can change this, bro. And it's the same here. I want the woman to get to a place that every time you enter a relationship, if you've exited, it's not just him that's the issue. You have to look at you. and you have to look at what you can improve. Every time I exit a relationship, I did a video and I talked about a relationship where I was in where I got abused. And I said, well, yeah, I got abused, but let me be honest with you. What was deficient in me that I found myself staying longer than I actually needed to in that relationship? When I realized it was red flags and I ignored the red flags, whose issue was that? It wasn't other people. It was my issue. And so I drum it home all the time that no matter what happened to you in a relationship, because what can happen is it's like, well, they're the one that's the issue. They're the one that's the problem. No, I can say that too. I can say I've had some girlfriends where, fam, one girl cheated on me, the other girl was moving mad. Fam, is it their, listen, it can be their fault to do what they did. But what am I going to learn from that situation? And what am I going to do differently in the next relationship? And if I look back at the relationship, what did I ignore? Because when I look back at these relationships, I realized, oh, there was things I was ignoring. Oh yeah, they weren't healthy. And I ignored that. You know why I ignored it? Because I wasn't healthy. And I was like, well, if I'm not healthy and you're not healthy, you're gonna cover me in my unhealthiness. I'm gonna cover you in your unhealthiness. You know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna give me grace in my unhealthy and in my unhealthiness. But that doesn't two people who are sick are not about to heal each other. Right? Two people that are sick are not about to heal each other. You don't go to a sick doctor to ask the doctor, listen, bro, I'm sick. Doctor's like, I'm sick too. What you I got you though. You're like, what the freak? No, bro, you sick. Like, you ain't about to look after me. So it's the same thing in a relationship. I want us to get to that point where both parties, not just women, but we're addressing women because it's a men's panel, that you start to look at every relationship. If you've never sat down, what you said is beautiful. That's why I put it across the screen. If you've never sat down and thought, what were three things that I liked from all the previous relationships I've been in? What were three things from each relationship that I didn't like? If you've not sat down and correlated a mental list to say, actually, this is what I learned and this is what I didn't like about that relationship. This is what I'm going to do to change that. It doesn't always have to be written down on paper. We do this mentally oftentimes. We process what we've gone through. If you've never done that mental process before, you are on autopilot. You're not a manual. And if you're on autopilot, you are under control. You're not in control. And that's what's really important. You know what I mean? So yes, you can have experience where you've chose bad men and bad men have come along, but there's going to be a time where you have to sit down with self and actually ask yourself, what can I do differently so that I don't pick that person? Because best believe you're picking them because they're coming to you and you're choosing. They're not forcing you into a relationship. You're choosing them, which means you're picking them. Yeah. So we have to look at it from that perspective so everyone can do their work. Sean, good to have you on board. What's your thoughts? We've just been talking about tips on how not to get played by men, but we first started talking about accountability and just kind of being aware of what we're kind of choosing and what we're picking and just kind of setting up the scene before we get into that deeper end of the topic. What's your kind of thoughts, bro?
Yeah, I think just adding on to what you guys said, it's about the accountability factor, right? And I think it's also um, avoiding these just generic terms that are so overused, like toxic. Like I think it was Tina in that episode of Ready to Love when she was like, "Oh, I was in a toxic relationship." Sometimes we just use these buzzwords and we like plug and place them on the relationship versus really identifying what the issue was and what did you walk away with, right? Because at the end of the day, I think if we're not walking away with a lesson, and if it's just simply about that person, then it's for naught because you didn't just land in a bad relationship, in a vacuum. You contributed to it to a certain degree, so you want to know what are the things you're working on to avoid that going forward. And that was one of the things when I got divorced that I had to make sure that I didn't get into that space of blaming, because sometimes when we end a relationship, it's very instinctual for us to blame the other person if there's something we can put our finger on, right? So we just blame them, and then that just removes the accountability from us for the things that we need to be doing differently. And then I think that's how those popular words come into play, and we just use them everywhere. Oh, they were a narcissist. Oh, they were toxic. They were a liar. But what is it what did you walk away? What are you doing differently? What are the things you're actively working on? Because we could easily point out somebody else's flaw, and then that helps us to really avoid doing the work that we need to do for ourselves.
I love that, man. Love that. Corey, you want to add anything else onto that part as well? Because we're talking about blaming can remove accountability. I love that point that Sean's made there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We spoke on that a little bit earlier about blaming someone else. You also have to point the finger at yourself and ask yourself, what you could have done to make it better. But when it comes with blaming, I've noticed that a lot of conversation happens about the negative relationships. Everyone can tell you about the bad relationships, but when it comes to those good relationships, it feels like you have to pull that out. Okay, talk to me about a good relationship, and you can't say you haven't had one. You can't say you haven't experienced at least one good relationship, even if you have to go back to middle school, even if you have to go back to high school to pull that relationship out. Those things that that person had that gave you your first love, the qualities that man had, the qualities that woman had. So if you know what those qualities are, okay, build on that. That's your building blocks right there. That's when your first interaction with love, outside of a father, outside of a mother, your first interaction with love is that first love that you had. So let's go back to get into that, and then let's grow these relationships bit by bit. I think it's possible.
100%, bro. 100%. I love that. And I think it's not everyone has that blueprint, which is a shame as well. So, that is why if you can find somebody who you can model yourself on, whether it's you've got a friend who's got a lovely mother and father or whatever, if you can be close to them, if you've got uncles and aunts or whatever, someone that's kind of close to you that can kind of model that love that we're talking about. Nothing's gonna be perfect, but can model that love. Do you know what I mean? If you've never experienced or never seen it as well, better yet, throw yourself in some therapy. You know what I'm saying? So they can address some of the issues that you might be going through. And so these are the key parts, because again, I think Sean kind of said it as well. When you break up, um, there is a kind of push from yourself within to kind of look at someone else and blame someone else. And listen, buzzwords are fine, but like you said, you don't want it to be coming where it removes your accountability, from you taking a stock of what happened and potentially having the power to change going forward. So I'm definitely with you guys on that. Since we've kind of broken that lovely piece of work down and kind of given a bit more of a foundational piece, tips on how not to get played. Just one tip each. Let's kind of break it down and take it at a time. So one tip at a time. We'll break it down and give them some of the game as well. Okay. Now you don't need to quote Steve Harvey. You just need to tell us what your tip is. Okay. All right. And not the tip that goes in, but the tip that comes out. Okay. All right. Thank you. Corey, do you have a tip to that you'd like to discuss, and we can discuss on it, and how women cannot get played by the man?
One thing I will say is making sure that this is a man who's actually playing you. Okay, but there's a difference. There is a misconception in some ways that men who seem like they're FOS are not really FOS. It just depends on what they have going on in their world, what they got, how their upbringing is, culture differences. It can be a lot of different things. They may look a different way to you than it would be to someone else. So I would say, if you find a man that is not picking up what you're putting down, doesn't approach you the way you want to be approached, doesn't speak to you the way you want to be spoken to, I think those are signs that that man may not be for you. But I wouldn't put him in that category of he's a dog or he's a bad guy type of category. So I would say, first, make sure that you're um, correctly identifying the good man versus the bad man. You're on mute.
Thank you, bro. What's your thoughts on that, Sean? In addition to what Corey just kind of laid down as a first marker.
Yeah, I would also add to that and say, just now, I know you always say we don't want walls, right? We don't want to be tearing down anybody's walls, and that's definitely the case. But I think pace and time and season, right? Don't give too much too soon, too quick.
Mm,
Whether
mm,
it's all the things that you want in a relationship or all the things that you are looking for from a man. Um, because that could set you up for somebody to just tell you everything that you want to hear and then do the exact opposite, or even sometimes just giving too many vulnerabilities up front. That could, set you up for being taken advantage of, right? So because you don't know the person that well, right? So if you lead with, talking like this is what I don't want, then just be careful, because you don't know that person well enough to know that they're not that person. So you want to ask better questions and not lead with what the things that you don't want. I think that's going to help you to be able to better vet a man to see if they're truly the right guy for you.
Love that point. Corey, he
Mm.
says, yeah, go for it. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. He has some good points there, Sean. Properly vetting the man. And like I said, I'll say this from day one, that I don't think women ask the right questions. I don't think marriage-minded men or women, lifelong partnership type of women are asking men the right type of questions. I've mentioned structure before in the past, that a man has to have a structure if he's marriage-minded. If you walk up to this man, you talk to this man on a daily basis, you got to ask him, how do you see yourself as a husband? How do you see me as your wife? You know, he should have that thought process in his mind. And I think it's very important to ask the right questions. Like I said before, the questions about favorite ice cream, favorite colors, stuff like that, that's played out. We have to have deeper conversations. And what get those deeper conversations are men who are marriage minded, men who are family oriented, men who want to succeed, men who want to build with their partner. And I think that's something that's missing. And I think we need to add more to that, more value to that. And not just how he looks in a suit, not just how he's well groomed. Those things are important. Trust me, ladies, those things are important. Him being attractive, I get it. Those things are very important. But he has to have some meat inside of that skin, inside of that skeleton that you're looking at. So the meat starts with the conversation, starts with intellect, starts with the ability to grow, ability to communicate, all of the basics. He needs to have those characteristics.
Love that point. Ladies are kind of asking as well, how soon is too soon then to kind of share some information then? How soon is too soon to kind of share, some maybe some vulnerable details, like how soon be too soon?
Who's that for, me or Sean?
You can go for it, Corey. You can go for it. You already opened your mic. I'm sure after.
Okay, so when it comes to sharing vulnerable information with someone, it's something that I would say that you should do. Share something about yourself that is important to you, to see how he takes it. It doesn't have to be, a big secret about something in your life. Just share something that's important to you, something that you care about, something that you think about daily, a goal you're trying to reach as a personal goal. Share that with your man and see how he moves. See if he doesn't offer some type of assistance, some type of way that he can be a part of to help you with your goal. And not only just see if he says it, but see if he acts on it too, because a lot of times we go off words and not action. So it's very important to make sure that they're both aligned. And that's one of the ways you want to start it off early, is to make sure that you're both aligned and saying that, okay, he's saying the right things, but okay, is he acting on them as well? And when you get those two working well together, that's a good start. But you got to wait for consistency. You got to have consistency to back it up. But it's a start.
Love those points, Corey. Love those points. Your camera's frozen, by the way. But yeah, love those points. Sean, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that, and I don't think there's like and my point, it's not like okay, you wait at date 3 or date 4. It's, kind of gauging based on your interaction, right? And knowing at the first time you meet somebody, and the vibe may be good, and your first instinct might be to just, lay it all out because you think that connection is so good in the first or second interaction, but you want to pace yourself. And then also, Seaway had made a good comment, right? You want to see how much effort and energy is that person giving you, right? Are you going full tilt and then the guy's not matching that energy, right? Are your calls not necessarily getting returned right away? Are you having to follow up often? Like, just looking at engaging that person's energy based on your energy and your effort, and then making the appropriate adjustments, right? Because sometimes we get caught up in the idea of the person very early on versus really seeing them for who they truly are. So
Love those points. And I think just to add a contribution towards that question about how soon is too soon, I think Corey gave a good blueprint as well, which is, you share a little bit in terms of what's important to you. Nothing that's going to break your heart to release. You know what I mean? You have to. We're earning each other's trust here. Do you know what I mean? So if you're not ready to kind of share some certain deep things about yourself, then I would say, listen, don't share all those things straight away, but rather, share something that's a bit more important to you. Engage the kind of reaction. Again, it's not necessarily a test. It's more of a case of just being able to be comfortable and share something that's a bit more important to you. Maybe you share something about work and something that happened to you. You kind of see how they respond. If they're able to respond with emotional intelligence to what you're saying and able to be be able to comprehend what you're saying and give you the right kind of response that you require, then fantastic. You got someone who's already showing a little bit of promise, and then you give a little bit and you give a little bit. In the same way, you kind of just you take your time with it. I remember when I was in a relationship, and my girl at the time she's like, "Oh, I want to tell you something, but it's not the right time to tell you just yet. But I would love to share this with you a little bit in future." I was like, "All right, cool." Like, as for me, you know what? If you tell me something deep from the beginning, I'm not gonna get scared, because I deal with it every day. But I appreciate the fact that she said, "You know what? There's something I want to share with you, but it's just not right away." I didn't press it. I didn't force it. I didn't try to, get it out of her. And eventually, she shared it. And actually, when I've looked at some of my past girlfriends, they've all shared something deep, but have taken their time to share it. They've not shared it straight away, right? They've waited till they've trusted me, got me. And this is the thing as well. Men will understand this as well. Men who actually want you, we're going to understand this. Like, there's a difference between walls and then saying there's certain things I don't want to share just yet. We'll know. Do you know what I mean? So, with the past few relationships I've been through, I can tell that these ladies have taken their time and been like, okay, now I feel comfortable and ready to now tell you this information, which is very deep, sensitive, and vulnerable. Okay. And they can tell now that I'm ready to receive that information because they've been with me for a little while. They understand how I operate and they can see how I process information. Don't be so quick and enamored. And this is the issue with not just women, people in general, but we're talking about women today, that people get enamored by the vision of where they're going. You're excited about how good he looks, how good he smells, how good he tastes, how good his job seems to be. You're already dreaming about the future. And so it stops you from playing cool and you start playing nervous and anxious and you start overplaying your hand. Right. And so what happens is then you start to release information that maybe you're not necessarily ready to release at that point in time, but it's before it's time. Right. But had the guy not even been that good looking to you, you'd have been a simple thing. You'd have been like, I'll share wanting to share it. But sometimes we get ahead of ourselves because we're envisioning, you know, it's envisioning and they're seeing things before it's time. Take your time. We're not running anywhere. We're not trying to run the race at speed. We totally, as men who are intelligent and emotionally aware, they are understanding of the fact that there are going to be deeper levels as we go along. So if you've got the right type of male or right type of man, he will definitely understand the pace we're going. You know what I mean? And he will understand that, okay, there's certain things you don't want to share right now. I won't share. Even us as men, we do the same thing. It's not, I don't share everything every deep thing that I've gone through with everybody. I kind of see where you are. If I trust you and I feel like I definitely trust you, I've seen that you're trustworthy, then I'll release some information to you. What are you thinking, Sean?
Yeah, I'm right with you. And I think also, like, just to add to that as a good gauge, right? Especially if this is not somebody, because it also depends on the nature of the relationship and how you know the person, right? Because sometimes people, will start off as friends and then they'll decide to date. So there's a different trust factor there. And you still want to guard your heart before you fully go in, but there's certain things that you don't necessarily have to hold back because there is an established trust there, right? Or if you really know this person or this person is well vetted because they were a friend or family member of somebody else, I think those are things that also can help you to kind of just be more, conscious of, what you say and what you might not want to say. The other thing is I kind of use this as a rule of thumb, and I've really engaged the more I've been on YouTube, right? It's the things I say, the things I share, I wouldn't be hurt, offended, or embarrassed if somebody else were to hear the story, right? If it's something that's so personal and so intimate very early on, and you just wouldn't want anybody to know, you might want to think twice about sharing it, right? So I just kind of use that as my gauge of how much I share, how what I will share, and then it depends on the person. Some people are like, I don't have a problem sharing that, or it might not bother me. And some people are very private, so they might take it very personally if something they decided to share with somebody winds up in the somebody else's. So I think that's a good way to kind of think about it.
Yeah, I loved what you said as well. Like, if you would be ready to hear that publicly, because that's such a great way of thinking about it as well. And often, and again, these are and that's also a good barometer as well in terms of a good measure of person. If that information comes back to you that someone has said this, you might want to start looking at your partner some way too, because they're not a safe place. They're not a vault. Okay, information is leaking. Okay, um, but you're absolutely right about that. In terms of that kind of sharing. Because I wouldn't just share something that's going to literally completely embarrass me to someone I know that potentially might be a little bit leaky with it. And this again about going back to our original point and one about ignoring red flags, which is one of the ways not to get played actually, and it's a very big part of all of this, is that there is an ignorance of red flags, right? So sometimes we are literally hoping and winging it on a prayer with somebody. I've done this before where, not necessarily sharing information, but ignoring red flags where the girl looked pretty. Let's be honest, the girl looked pretty. Okay, all right. And I'm doing more than I actually need to do because the person is pretty to me and it's making me bamboozled. Right. If you're if you're in that space and you're getting bamboozled by his good looks and charm and his rock hard abs, okay, he's 6 feet, 6 figures, 6 abs. Listen, if you're getting confuzzled by that, then you really need to now take some time out for yourself and really just be okay. Hold on a minute. Am I in the right place? Am I in the right frame of mind? Am I taking it slowly? You need to gauge yourself, and that's where it's about being honest with oneself, because we all can get played. And that's what I'm saying to you again, going back to that original thing, which is don't ignore what you're seeing because you are hoping for something greater, which kind of even leads us on I think tip number 4 for me, which is if I said I'm not ready for a relationship, please, I said it. I don't understand why you're going past the mark. I said I don't want a relationship. Or you asked me. In fact, that's even a question. And let me just that's even not even a question. That's even a tip. Asking me whether I want a relationship or not, and I'm giving you some confuzzled answer, yeah, is a sure sign to say, "Well, I'm out of here, baby." Okay, that's tip number 4. Don't go past go when I done told you already. I'm not even want a relationship. People ignore this because what happens is you start looking at my actions and not matching it with my words. And I've always said, women, when you're looking at us men, you must match words and actions because I can lie and do something else with my actions. I can also not do my actions, but tell you I'm doing something. Right? So the two must marry. If you really want to know what a man's really on, the two marry. If they don't marry, that's not the man you want. Point blank range. What do you think, Sean?
Spot on. You know what I mean? And I think like that's how you will really know the measure of a man is by what he does. Because not to say are there those of us that are verbal? Yes, but we are very action oriented and sometimes to a fault, right? Because it's something that we have to learn when we're talking to, the women we're in relationships with and they're just venting or sharing a problem. We want to fix it. And that's our mind. Our minds are geared to fix problems, or to take care of things. So a man is going to just naturally, when he really is interested in you, you're going to see it in his actions, right? You're going to see how quickly he returns your phone call, how intentional he is about the time that he spends with you. And it's not to say like we're busy, those of us that work and have demanding jobs and schedules and things like that, that we're not going to be pushed and pulled. But at the end of the day, when we want to do something, we're going to make that happen, right? And we are going to set up time to spend with you, if there is a genuine interest there. And you need to watch out for those signs where he says one thing and does another. If in the first interactions, he says, "Oh yeah, you call me, I'm calling you back right away," then and then you don't see that happening, then that's a red flag, right? Because that's just somebody telling you what you want to hear. And I think another thing you want to also think about is be prepared and this is, might sound maybe a little weird, but you want to be prepared for some objections. Because if everything he's saying sounds great and everything he's saying, he agrees with everything you're saying, that's probably not real. Because two people are going to disagree at some point about something, right? Even if you're like, oh, well, I'm a big texter. Most of us guys, and not all, most, we don't like those texts. Once those texts hit like 4 or 5 lines, we're tapped out. We're tapped out. And the feedback usually is, you don't really text me that much, and I might get that's just, that to us just leaves so much room for interpretation. When you get a text with like six paragraphs or 6 sentences, that's so much to filter through. Most guys are gonna be, if he's honest, he's gonna be like, listen, I'll respond to your text, but I'm not exactly gonna respond. I'm not gonna give you a lengthy text message. If he can't be straight with you and tell you like something you said, I can hear you, but this is not what I do, or this is what I might, then it's probably not a genuine conversation.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. I will say that the texting to me, I'm just saying to me, can come off as you're not being available or you're not giving me the time that I want or need. And you spending that time texting me when you can pick up the phone and call me. That's just a little extra feeling there. And don't think it's not masculine for a man to feel that way, because we're not that far off from women when it comes to those feelings of being wanted, being desired. So I will say that if you're a man, if you're a woman and you're texting a man, yeah, he'll accept the text. Like Sean said, after 4 or 5 lines, I'm like, okay, that's a conversation. You can call me. Okay. But it's important for us to hear your voice, because the sound that you make, the laughter in your voice, the smiling when you're talking, we can detect those things. And it can boost certain things in a relationship. It can boost our interest in you in the relationship, especially if you guys are here dating multiple people at the same time, trying to find that one. So just something to think about. But I definitely agree with Sean.
Yeah, definitely. I love that, the points that you guys have made as well, and absolutely right. We, and this is where this is where you catch a man out as well, a lot of times as well, because clear cut communication will rattle out or weed out the poor men who don't need to be around you. Okay, look, when I want to play a game, when I want to move mad, when I want to suck you into an era of just sexuationship. Let's keep it a buck, When I want to bedazzle your brain, yeah, and I don't really want a relationship. I don't like clear cut communications. I don't like questions that are going to make it very black and white. I want things that keep it gray. I want things that are going to keep it messy. I want things that are going to keep it untangled, keep it tangled. I don't want it to be untangled. I don't want it to be clear. I don't want any, you know what I'm saying? So clear cut communication is one of those ways that absolutely removes all the madness from the table, right? The problem is some of you ladies like the tanglement. You like Jada Pinkett Smith behavior. You want to be tangled up, right? You want to be tangled up. So now when I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, you're making a whole bunch of excuses for me, right? When I'm not coming through with my word and my action, you're making a whole bunch of excuses for me, right? And so I want you to be understanding here. Clear cut communication. That means, ladies, slow down. Some of you, when you get into your emotional state, maybe I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and I don't mean that when I'm emotional in that sense, but in the sense of when you allow what you're feeling to involve your action, what happens is you drop the longest paragraph, and actually what you should have done was just waited, give yourself some time, thought about it, and actually thought, what do I actually want to get out of this communication with him? What answer do I need from him? Right? Because you now telling me you're not you're you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. I'm hurt by what you're doing. And you give me a long ass text. If I'm playing you, that don't mean nothing to me. Okay? I'm just gonna probably take 2-3 lines out of that text you just put there, be like, why are you tripping for? Like, that I'm busy and working, and I'm gonna flip you, because what you've failed to do is realize what you're trying to get out of me. What you want out of me is a clear-cut answer as to whether I'm being serious or not. Okay? So Clear-cut communication removes all that extra layers of madness. And as soon as I start trying to mess it up, you tell me again, hey, bruh, I'm not, you're trying to go round the mill and I want a straight answer, right? If I can't give you a straight answer, I'm playing with you. Whether I'm playing with you, whether I'm not serious, whether I'm not sure about you, it doesn't make a difference. I am not 100% in. And that's the whole point. So clear-cut communication removes all of that madness that happens. So if you want to know whether I really want a relationship with you, ask me straight up. I'm looking for a relationship. I'm not going to lie to you. Are you looking for a relationship? If I go, you know what it is, like right now, I'm focusing on my career. Right now I'm just trying to see where things kind of go. I'm not saying no, and I'm not saying yes per se, but I'm just trying to like, where do you think you are right now? Like, I'm trying to see, like, right now, because I've just been doing so much work that they start making all sorts of kerfuzzle because I know I'm trying to twist you up. I want you in a twister. I want you bedazzled. So ask me straight questions and you'll get straight answers. Or if you don't get straight answers, I'm not being straight. You know what I mean? Corey, you back. Good to see your face, B.
Yeah, I'm here.
What you saying, bro?
What was your last point? I'm sorry, I was working on something.
That's right, man. I know he was getting locked out. I was saying about women asking straight questions to get straight answers from us as men, because when I'm playing, I tend to dance around certain questions because I don't want to spoil my fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with that. A little something to go along with that is that when men give you that straightforward answer, believe them. Okay, don't get to a habit, ladies, of thinking that a man is pretending, thinking that he doesn't mean what he says, or thinking that you can change him. When he tells you what he's working with, what things he has going on, you have to believe him and just go straight for that. I think that's one of the things that can really hinder your growth in a relationship as far as trying to think for your partner. If you ask a question, you believe that person is capable of answering the question intelligently, and you can believe them when they say what they say, then that's what you should do. You should believe them. So that's my backup for what you had to say, Coach.
I love that. Sean, any additions to that?
Yeah, no, I think that I would say 100% with just being upfront and clear, and then being open to accepting what he's saying, right? And take it for what it is. Don't add anything. Don't add your spin. Don't check in, because not check in, but don't, like, sometimes people will say, oh, well, they'll call a girlfriend and ask her, well, he said this, what do you think? No, what did he say to you, right? And then if you have a question, there's a follow-up question. Don't just sit with it, and then now you're sitting with that thought of what does it mean, and you're just harboring on that, and it's irking you, right? If you have a question in the moment, just ask it. What does that mean? Or a good technique is to repeat back what the person is saying before you jump to the assumption, right? When you said that, this is what I heard, right? Is that what I'm hearing you say? So I think those are good practices to use to make sure that you're understanding each other's communication styles. Because amongst men, some of us we communicate differently, and sometimes we can misinterpret each other. Definitely across between men and women, we can say something, and just the mere tone can elicit a different feeling than what the intention actually is. So asking the question, and then repeating it back. Now, if the person still says, no, this is what I meant, or they keep going strong, well, then you need to take note of that. This is how they communicate. They're not giving any sensitivity to how you're perceiving the message. They're not going to tailor it. That's what it is. And then you take it for what it is and you move forward.
100%. And I think coming into that particular space as well, one must know exactly what they want out of the transaction and be honest with yourself. You know what I mean? Look, I'm here. I'm going to tell you this. I'm a Christian, but listen, I don't promote sex before marriage. But if that's what you're on, that's what you're on. You know what I mean? Don't come and lie to yourself, because that's where the kerfuzzle happens. That's where the kerfuzzle happens. Kerfuzzle happens when people start mixing up agendas. baby, if you know you're coming in there, get your back blown, get your back blown. Don't come in there with extra addeds. I'm just being real. If that's what you want, say that straight. If you don't want the back blown, you want to get the man in a relationship, get the relationship. Don't now get the back blown, then be complaining and saying, Asha, he played me. No, he didn't play you. You played yourself. And that's why you're angry, really. You're not angry with him. You're angry that you let yourself get played by him when you knew that was not what you wanted. So it's like, again, go into these situations knowing exactly what you actually want as a result from this particular person. If you're talking to someone, I think Alex has made a point here about us as men, well, basically not having to ask relationship status. Yeah, I mean, in most cases, listen, a man will show you what he really is on. In most cases, he will, right? But just if you're not sure, you have a final card to play. You have power in your hands. You ask a straight edged question. If you can't tell, if it's a bit fuzzy, if there has been sex involved as well, there's a straight question that needs to be asked, which you may not like the answer for, but you gotta ask it, because it's like taking medicine that you don't particularly like taking, but it's going to help you heal. So it's the same thing here. Sometimes we get to a place where, you know what, we're getting confuzzled. There's a lot of things going on, and we kind of know, but we're not 100% sure. Ask the question. That will put a nail in the coffin, and that will end it for you and say, hey, actually, do you know what? The ride's over. I'm out. Okay. What I wanted wasn't, here. So, so that's, yeah. Answer those questions, and you'll see that the real will come out. The real will come out. Men like to dance in the gray. Yes, Sean.
I would say too, and this is kind of like a little this is just something to nibble on, right? If you say something, stick with it, right? It's kind of similar to what you were saying, right? Like if it's just friends with benefits, then it's just friends with benefits, right? Don't lead with friends with benefits, and then somewhere you catching feelings, and then you want to switch, and now you're upset, or the reverse, right? I want to wait, blah blah blah, till we're in a committed relationship, or I want to wait for X, Y, Z, and then you waver. Because once you waver, a lot of times we're just going to see that as, oh, you're not serious, and we're just going to just roll along and do it what we want to do. We'll respect you if you stick to what you say it is, right? And that doesn't mean people don't there's no room to change your mind. You definitely can, but just be cautious with what you change your mind on. And if it's like clear principles on how you want the relationship to manage, or what you're looking from a relationship, and then you waver on that, and it's a major thing, sometimes that's just setting you up to just continue to get your boundaries broken, because we're going to be like, oh, she said she didn't want that, but she went with it. So this is probably not that serious either. So just be cautious around that piece.
Yeah. Any additions, Corey?
Yeah, I agree with everything that Sean and you were saying about the whole boundaries. You got to know what you want. Now, I will say this, though. You have men, you have women who will enter into a relationship and ask that question, okay, what are you looking for? And if a man says to you that he's looking for that horizontal partner so he can be in bed with, he just wants somebody just to have fun with right now, and that's not your cup of tea, I will at least have to say you should respect that man's honesty, because he could lie to you. He can run you all the way up and through there. But no, he told you the truth up front. So I think there is a respect value for any man that will allow you the option to choose to do whatever you want to do. If you want to be in a relationship, cool. You want to be just friends, cool. You want to be friends with benefits, cool. As long as you guys have that conversation and you guys mutually agree, that is upon you. No one on the outside should be able to judge what you want and don't want to do. So yeah, my 2 cents on that is the fact to just understand each other to the point of hearing what each other has to say. Like Sean say, be true to your word. You are open to change your mind, but if you do change your mind, make sure you can explain it intelligently as far as why you deviated from what you had said originally. Okay, if you do have a friends with benefits situation and you start to grow those feelings, okay, explain to this man, explain to this woman why your feelings have changed. Okay, she may be down with it, she may not be down with it. It just depends on how you're able to explain yourself. and then also giving her the option to choose, or him the option to choose. So I think it really boils down with effective communication, not just talking back and forth, but actually listening to each other and listening to what each other has to say, and being someone who can provide details about how you're feeling, because those details really do matter when you're in a relationship. Because a lot of people try to guess if it's this way or if it's that way, but if you provide as much detail as possible, then there's no guessing game, and you can't say, "Oh, you didn't know," or "Oh, you didn't tell me." That's dead at that point. So yeah.
Love that. Sean, you want to say something again?
Oh no, I just didn't take myself off mute.
No worries, no worries. Yeah, I love those points as well. I want to even quickly address this comment because I want to address it for this reason, because I want to give women no space today, no space. This comment here: I hate the onus of getting played is on the woman, as if men don't have accountability. I want to give you no space today. I don't want to be cruel, but I want to be tough, right? Because I think I need to be. It is on you. My life is not your life. At the end of the day, when you go to sleep, it's you and your brain. It's you and your body, not me. Okay? So the onus is on you. Not just women, it's on you. Meaning I've got an onus not to get played. You've got an onus not to get played. All of us have an onus to look after self first. You are the queen and the king of your own domain. If you are the queen or the king of your own domain, you are responsible for what happens within that domain, right? Bar obviously certain things, but I'm just saying you have to take accountability. So I'm saying it because I want to give you no room. I don't want you to wallow in any pity. I don't want you to look at men as a problem. I don't want you to look anywhere else apart from you, because you are the solution to your own problem. So I'm intentionally nailing down on this point because I don't want to give you any room to look anywhere else apart from you today, right? And I'm usually not this harsh, but I just want I want my sisters, like, if I'm telling my sister, it's the same way I'm telling my sister, I'm like, you don't get to look at someone else and be like, you don't, no. You've got to take the reins yourself. This is your life. I'm not going to be in it forever. Your brother's not going to be in it forever. Someone else not going to be in it forever. You have to look at what decisions am I making and take control. I'm not cussing women. I'm not saying you're bad or anything. I want you to understand that you must take the reins because it's your life. Can't give it up because now it's men that are playing us. No. They are playing and they're going to continue playing. No matter what I say to them, they're going to continue doing this thing forevermore. So what do you do to protect yourself? This is what we're talking about today, right? So, Alexis, I appreciate you. I'm not coming at you, but I wanted to just make sure there's no room to run away from what we're talking about today. No room at all. All right, cool. Next point or tip you guys have for the ladies. Sean, why are you laughing for? Why are you laughing, Sean?
I'm looking at the comments. They said I turned my camera off so I wouldn't laugh. No, I was getting water.
Maybe yourself, bro. Maybe yourself. Yeah. What's the next point that you guys would give to the ladies as well? What would you say? I've got one. Sorry, I've got one. It's on my brain. Please, ladies, I kind of mentioned this already. Please stop exchanging your body for a relationship. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Stop giving me sex thinking you're going to get me in the end. I'm not going to fall. Okay? This is not Trojan horse war. You're not going to get me to fall. Okay? I'm not going to fall in love, okay, with you. And even if I do, it's short term and I will resent you by the end and I will leave you. It's just the honest truth. You cannot capture me with poussoir. Now, there probably is some few men that probably might fall down prey to that. That's not even the type of men that you even want in your relationship anyway. Right? That's not the kind of men you're even trying to trap. The men that you're trying to trap with the poussoir, these men, okay, are going to turn around and hurt you in the end emotionally. Okay? You cannot give me your body in exchange for a relationship. It's just not going to work. Mandan, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's about really just paying attention to your partner. Really, I mean, because I know with ladies, it's hard to determine when that time is or when it's that time too late, too soon. It's all about vibes. It says how that man vibes with you, how you vibe with that man. That's what it boils down to. So, no, you can't give your body up too freely, too soon, because men think, men feel, men talk. So if you gave it up that soon, how serious are we going to take you? Not saying that every man won't take you seriously if you give up the goods too soon, but it will be a thought that processes through his mind. Okay, if he wants to be in a serious relationship. Now, we'll also say this: the 90-day rule. Don't do that either. I will say if you want to know if someone is serious about you in a relationship, pay attention to what they do. Not always what they say, but what they do. Because sometimes, man, we won't even say anything. We just do it. If we know we're going to see you, we're doing things for you just out of pure the fact that you're with us. There's no reason behind it. We're not trying to get at something. We're not trying to manipulate anything. We just simply love being around you. We simply love doing things for you. You have to decide when it's time for a man to earn that right to be with you. That's a privilege. That should be a privilege, and it shouldn't be a privilege just handed out to anyone. It shouldn't be a privilege just handed out easily to anyone. It should be something you should decide. Okay, this man has shown me enough of himself to say, okay, I want to partake in this particular activity with this man because either I feel like it's time, because I'm curious, because of whatever the reason is. That's your reason. No, I'm not going to take that away from you. But what I will say is that be careful when you're doing it and be safe when you're doing it, because I don't want to get too deep into the weeds of that, but you lay down anyone, babies happen. Possibilities, anything can happen when you lay down anyone one time. So that's why it's so important to make sure you know your partner, because those characteristics, that personality can filter through you to that baby. So you got to be very, very careful, because it's not about you anymore. It's about it could be about the child you have with this person. And I think that's what kind of messes up a lot of relationships as it is now when it comes to men, women, and kids. And that's another layer that we can tap into at another time. But I just want to say that when it comes to um, the the sexual aspect of a relationship, you do need to pay attention to your partner and what they are willing to give a piece of themselves. Is something that's personal, something that's honest, something that's decent about themselves to you to hold in this relationship, to say, you know what, I'm serious about you. I'm ready to take this next step. I'm ready to go there. And that's what I say.
Love this point. Sean, what's your thoughts onto that?
Yeah, I would just add on and say, like, just don't use sex as a bargaining tool in the relationship, right? It shouldn't be something that is leveraged to get something else. And whatever that something is, whether it's a relationship or thing, or, you using it as a litmus test to see how serious, he is about you. Like you use it as with those expectations. A lot of times you just setting yourself up for disappointment, right? If you are engaging in sex, it should be because it's something you want to enjoy with your partner, right? And not looking to gain anything out of it but enjoyment and fulfillment. When we start to place expectations on our partners with sex, then you just kind of leading yourself up for disappointment, right? And you do want to be cautious with who you share yourself with, and what that's going to lead you to. If you're vulnerable, or if you get emotionally connected once you have sex, and that you're not sure about where this relationship stands, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't think it's going to change anything, because it might not. And then that's when you have that disappointment, right? And again, I think some of the accountability, if you want to think about it, and us talking about this, is we are sharing things that, at the end of the day, is not really great information for the guys that are playing the games or that are in certain positions. They're not going to want you to hear this stuff. So that's the accountability part for us, is us giving you some insight into the way the male mind works and how we think and what's going to get you the best outcomes, because that's kind of giving you some inside tips into how to navigate relationships differently to get a better outcome, right? So I think sometimes women go into it and they're like, well, I don't want to, but maybe if I do, or, da 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 is going to happen. I don't necessarily think that's going to be the game changer for you.
Okay. Another little tip here for the ladies. I will say this, that you're not going to like what I'm about to tell you. I'm being straight up honest with you. You're not going to like what I'm about to tell you. But the relationship, no matter how good, no matter how bad, no matter how great, sad, whatever the relationship is, the relationship does not become a true relationship until after sex. Now, I'm going to tell you why I say this. I say that because with a man, the sex usually, if it's a player, is usually the end goal. He's going to want to have sex with you, right? So if he has that sex with you, something about his behavior is going to change. Either he's going to be more into you, or he's going to be less into you. He's going to draw back from you. He's going to become distant if he's a player. But if he's into you, because you gave him something that's precious to you, that he respects about you, the interest is going to grow with that man. This is how I've always felt when it comes to sex, when it comes to a man, because a man can tell you anything to get there. He can tell you, he can spew out a whole bunch of lies, a whole bunch of misdirections, everything to get you comfortable enough to have sex with you. But once that's done, that's when you really want to see how this man responds to you. You know, is he going to get up in the middle of the night and just leave you there? Is he going to go out and make sure you get breakfast the next day? What is he going to do to say, hey, you're still safe? You didn't make a mistake last night with me, or you didn't make a mistake, period, as a relationship progresses. So I think it's something for ladies to really think about. But that as soon as you have sex that one time, pay attention to how he responds. Give him a week, give him two, but he's going to change soon after that sex happens. You want to know what kind of man you have.
Yeah, I love those points as well. At first, I was like, "Whoa!" But then, actually, when I saw what you kind of was saying there, do you know what I mean? Also, it's for depending on what crowd you are. So, if you're sex before marriage, guys, it might not work for you. But if you're not sex before marriage, then fine. I think you're absolutely right, because I think even just, do you know what, I was going to share a story, and you literally just said what I was going to share, which was when when I had one of my early girlfriends, like we kicked it maybe like the second or third day, bro. Like we'd known each other, fam. And after she was like, "Oh my god, I hope you don't think I'm this, that." And I was like, "No, like I actually like you." So this makes no. This is actually a for me. It's a powerful thing. We're growing closer. Do you know what I mean? So you're absolutely right. I think if a man is really serious about you, then the sex should draw him closer. If he's not that close, if he's not into you, the sex is going to drive him away. He's gonna try and focus all his attention on that area. It's like if I'm going to try and get it as many times as I can from you, but I'm not going to focus on any other area apart from just that area. Because once I've got it, right? Or he tends to wean off completely. Do you know what I mean? So you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right with this. I definitely agree with you on that particular part. So if you are having sex before marriage, guys, hey, I'm with you on core in this one. If you're not, shut it. Shut it. Don't open your legs. The shop is closed. But absolutely right, bro. I'm definitely hearing you on that. Sean, any additions to that?
I'll say he ain't touching that. Let's go.
No, y'all good. Y'all good. I'm in alignment. I think there's nothing left on the table to cover.
Oh man, that's too funny, bro. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, sex is definitely a very big, definitely a big thing as well. So definitely hearing you on that as well. I've got another it came to me, and I was thinking, okay, so some of the ladies made a point, and I was going to say this, that the tip here for me is, I keep saying the tip here for me, is that listen, I need to grow up. All right, cool. So one of the tips I've put down here is, ladies, you need to put yourself first. Okay, you put yourself first, because let me tell you something now. I'm gonna put me first. I'm gonna put me first every day, baby. Okay, whether I really want you or whether I don't want you, I'm gonna put me first. All right. So in the dating phase, you've got to put yourself first. You've got to be selfish to be selfless. You know, because you've got to make sure you're protecting you first. Number one. That doesn't mean necessarily completely cutting things off and everything like that. But what I'm saying is, you've got to operate with a space of mind that it's me first. You don't know me from Adam. I may not have your best intentions at heart. You know what I mean? So you've got to put you first, because as men, we do. We will do it all day, whether it's sex we want, whether it's a relationship we want. We gonna put ourselves first. So you as a woman need to put yourself first, and that comes with boundaries. That comes with the way that you talk about the way that what your actual need is. That comes with what you're actually wanting from a relationship. That all starts with the ideology. I'm putting me first. I have to be selfish to be selfless. Because when I'm selfless, I end up being selfish. I cheat me and I cheat you. You know what I'm saying? Well, you might not get cheated if that's what you want. You want sex, then you've won. But I get cheated, you know, in the end. So one must, put themselves first. What's your guys' thoughts on that for the ladies putting themselves first? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Go for it, Sean. Sean looking at me like.
Um, I mean, yes, I would say that's the case. I mean, I think most women are doing that nowadays, but I think in what maybe in a different aspect, right? Once you're in the relationship, I think women tend to give more of themselves. At the dating phase, I think women kind of got that down, got that message. At least the women that I interact with and I see self-care is everywhere. Women are for the most part taking really good care of themselves and putting themselves as a priority, whether it's their physical appearance, doing things that they like, traveling, and all that good stuff. But I think maybe once they're in the relationship, um, kind of making sure and continuing to self-assess that the person that they're with is that they're still getting the most and putting themselves as a priority.
I love that. Good rebuttal. Corey, what's your thoughts? Agree, disagree?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think I agree with the fact of what you're saying. You have to be selfish to be selfless. Very strong point when you made that point there. I will say that I agree with both what you and Sean said, because yes, you do, but it's comes a time in the relationship where you want to show that it's about the other person as well. Because there's nothing wrong with going into a relationship and asking yourself, okay, well, how can I benefit from being in this relationship? People think there's something wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with that. That's a part of being selfish as well. You have to be able to grow. You have to be able to benefit in some kind of way in order to grow within a relationship. But at some point, you have to ask yourself too, what is this person getting from me? How are they growing for me? How am I assisting them in their growth? And if you know your role in their life as well as knowing yours, what you're getting from them, that's about being self-aware, which we touched on in the beginning, is that once you know all these things about yourself, what you provide to your partner, then you're at a point now where if things go to the wayside, if things or go bad or whatever, you have something strong to stand on in the relationship that's beneficial to you to know that. I think sometimes that when we're in these relationships and we feel like it's just about sex, if we think about it and say, okay, what am I offering to this woman? And it's just, okay, it's just sex. And if it's just sex, then that's the problem. It has to be something of value that you can add to that person's life. So yeah, I do, like I said, I do agree with both what you and Sean said though.
Sean, you want to jump back in? Go for it, Sean.
Yeah, I think I saw a couple of comments too, which I think brought a different perspective, and I think could just go back to what you were saying, is there's more things on the surface that women may be doing for themselves, but they may not always be putting themselves first in terms of setting boundaries, what they expect out of a relationship, and that level of selfishness is important, right? And it's something that needs to be considered in relationships. So I can hear that. I can hear that for sure.
I love that. Love that. I mean, to us, I saw your point of view as well. So, I appreciate the roundedness of the man. I'll be saying words and I'll be looking. My brain is doing skitty scat, but yeah, no, I definitely hear your points as well, bro. And I definitely identify. There are other aspects too. Yes, you can be too selfish in certain points. So I'm definitely with you on that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we need both perspective so we can actually fully grasp exactly where we need to come from. So good points as well, bro. I appreciate that. But yeah, I think those particular points were great. Any other tips? Let's go to number 10. Me saying tips is getting on my nerves. Any more advice for the ladies? Any more advice for the ladies that could help them navigate not being played by us men? Anything out there? Any other tips out there? Well, I think Sean, you really kind of said one earlier on, but we touched on it, but I didn't put it as a major advice tip. But I think let your no be no and let your yes be yes is a perfect one. And we can probably just expand a bit more because, and that goes linking into boundaries as well. But if you tell me the best time when I've moved mad is when you tell me no, and then you hit me up later on saying, you know what, I had to think about it, and you know what, and they don't even change their mind. It's almost like they want to backtrack without really saying they're backtracking. It's like, oh, but why didn't you didn't even fight for the situation? You didn't even say anything. You want to backtrack, baby? Just say you want to backtrack, okay? But yeah, backtracking on really important issues where it concerns you entering into relationship, or whether there's certain things I would say your particular what do you call it, things that you can't compromise on. Like, you shouldn't be backtracking on those immovable objects. There's certain immovable objects in your life when it comes to dating that should not be moved. If you said no, it's okay to say no. It may mean you might be single a little bit longer, but it can avoid you setting yourself up for a fail. What's your guys' thoughts on that particular aspect? Go for it, Sean.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think the important part is, and it's just, it sounds basic, but sometimes it's not, and it's in our human nature to, when we like somebody, to give up a little bit of the things that we think may bring them closer to us. But if it's a firm boundary that you have, don't, because what happens is, we as people, we're constantly making judgments. And on the other side, if I see you as somebody who constantly wavers, it just kind of makes me not take you seriously, right? I think that that's something that you want to kind of be cautious about and understand of how it comes about. And if you change your mind, then you want to be clear about what that mind change comes from, right? I had some time to think about it, and this is why I want to, right? And it's not because you're just attempting to please me, because people pleasers can get run over in relationships, especially, when women fall into that kind of like space. It can kind of get you taken advantage of. And then you look at a series of relationships and you're like, why do I always, and guys always do this? That's when you hear those expressions. But it's, well, what are you doing, and what's landing you in that place? Are you just always trying to be so eager to please versus sticking to your guns and being clear about why you're doing what you're doing? And then if you're going to change, it's because you want to do it, and not just simply because you're trying to gain something, or you just want to please the person you're with. I think the other thing, which is not connected to this, but something that just popped into my head that I don't want to forget, it's the dangling of carrots. Like women will do this in a flirtatious kind of banter kind of way, and you're setting yourself up when you'll say to a guy, oh, you don't know what to do if you get this, right? It's like, oh, you ain't never gonna get this. Don't do that, because you're playing a game, and then you're just gonna be, you're already setting the tone that you've thought about it. Your mind has gone to that place, and it's like a temptatious thing. Guys will just run right through that, and before you know it, you'll be right doing the thing you said you weren't going to do, right? So if you really don't want it, now if you want to play the game, then go for it. Go full tilt. Go do it. But just know on the other side of it, if you're just talking, be prepared that the guy's going to probably try to challenge you on it. And you just might find yourself doing the very thing you said you wasn't going to do.
Yeah, that's a slippery slope. That's a slippery slope. You don't want to have those conversations. If you're not ready to pull that trigger, don't have those conversations, people. I'm just being real with you, because one, a man is thinking that, okay, if she's having this conversation, she's ready. That thing is simmering. She almost there. And if you don't pull that trigger within a week or two, he's going to see you as a tease. If he sees you as a tease, that's a negative thing. It's not a positive thing in this situation. That's a negative thing, because one, you just open the door for something to take place that you know you're not ready to have happen, but you just want to see where his head is. That's not a way to see where a man's head is. Don't bring it to him, because if you bring it to him, we're going to pick it up. Okay, any man is going to pick it up. So don't do don't do that. Please don't do that. That's a great point, Sean. Boy, you got me thinking about back in the late 1900s. Okay. This is the thing. Okay. So you want to know if your man is going to treat you right. He's going to do things the right way and everything. You're going to be able to weigh that stuff out real early by asking the right type of questions about the future. We touch on a few things here and there, but that's really what it's going to boil down to, man. How he responds, what he's ready for when you do give him questions, when you do ask him things. What is he prepared to provide for you? And again, don't be afraid if he doesn't speak your language. Excuse me. Don't be afraid if he doesn't speak your language when it comes to certain things. If it's something that you guys can compromise on a few things to tweak it, to be something that you'll like, something he'll like. That's a part of a relationship, compromising. So if you're able to do that, fine. But if his thought process is so far left and yours is so far right, then don't try to explore because he's handsome. Don't try to explore because you like his muscles, how he's built, his height. Don't explore because of those type of things, because it's going to eventually fall apart. You're going to ask yourself why when you already know the answer when you first started it. So just something to think about.
Good points there, bro. It's good points there. Yeah, definitely hearing you on this, the dangling of the carrot stuff. Listen, as soon as you dangle that carrot, I know I'm in. Sean, you already know. I'm in. You know what I mean? And I'm and the thing is, you give me a little, I'm going to tear it all away, because that's how we are as men, right? You give us an inch, we're going to take a mile, right? So yeah, if you want to find out you want to see where my head's at, you don't need to test me sexually to find out where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? Unless that's what you want. Again, we're going back to original intentions. What do you actually want? If that's what you want, you're trying to simmer me and get me hot to that place because you want the lash, then that's fine. You've got what you wanted. But if you don't want the lash, you don't want to offer the passoir, then there's no need to go down that lane. Okay? No need, yeah? Because it just complicates your decision-making process. Again, it's about you and being able to make good decisions. That's going to complicate the situation. No one's saying you can't have a little bit of a flirt and joke have a little fun, but there's no need to. Don't set me up into a sexual, kill zone, because I'm going to kill. You know what I mean? I'm going to try to kill. And then if, like you said, if I notice that you're just teasing, I'm going to walk away now, because I'm like, no, I don't need your trouble. You know what I mean? Especially in this day and age as well. We just seen another brother get shut down. So we ain't about to play this game. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah, in the Me Too movement, we're not about to play this game with you. So yeah, definitely hear you on that. Coco said about sex and relationship. If that's what you want in a relationship, if you want sex and relationship, you have your sex and relationship. You've got what you wanted. You wanted in a relationship, then in a relationship now, have your sex. Be free. Okay, cool. So no one's saying starve yourself in a relationship if you don't believe
Burger King, have it your way. Whatever your way is. Well, yeah, it's whatever.
Do your thing. If you're believing in sexual marriage, then have it your way. If you don't believe in sexual marriage, shut it. I've said it before. Shut it. All right, cool. Last point to ask before we get the questions. I've got a few questions for the lady been collating throughout the course of the episode. What was the question? Sorry. Yeah, the question was the last tip was it's okay to walk away. It's okay to walk away. I know it's kind of similar to nobody knowing yes, but yes, but this one is it's okay to walk away. It's a final one. It is okay to walk away. If it's not right, it's okay to walk away. The power of walking away. I wanna get you guys' thoughts on this. The power of walking away. I know some of us have had that ourselves where, maybe you played with a girl and you were trying to, secure, and she ends up walking away. It's a painful thing, bro. You almost had that, but she walks away. Good on her, but I was a player. Anyway, so what's your thoughts on this as a tip for the ladies? The power in walking away. Do men respect women that walk away? Do men respect the ladies that decide to say, "Hey, this is not for me"? What's our thoughts around this, gentlemen? Corey, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, and I definitely would say that the respect factor is there. Whenever there's no games being played, I think it's always going to be a plus. But for a woman to walk away, I think this respect that's there, because usually in situations like that, you will have women who will try to make the man be the one to break up with them. How to try to flip the script on them. Okay, just give them a reason to break up with you, so that way your hands are clear. You didn't cause the breakup or whatever the case is, so you're free and clear of that. But no, it's nothing wrong with being the one to have that breakup, because when you identify this is not working for you, when you've given someone a chance time and time again and it's still not working, you have to make that move. You have to make that move just for your pure mental health alone. Because if you're in an undesirable situation, it's going to affect you in ways that you would not believe. It can affect you at work. It can affect your personal life. It can affect your life with your kids. It can do that. So is that strong? So to relieve yourself of that type of stress, that type of pain, that type of energy, then it's best to just do away with it. Rip that Band-Aid off.
Love that point, man. Love that point. Sean, what's your thoughts to that?
Yeah, I think that is the ultimate boundary, right? And making sure that you are respecting yourself first. And I think that is the outcome of doing all the things that we have, pretty much shared, is that if it ain't working, or if you're seeing too many red flags, or if you're finding that you're not aligned, don't be so invested that you can't walk away, right? And be prepared to do that, and then stay away, right? Because a lot of times, women speak often about their intuition, and I believe that women do have that intuition, right? When you feel it in your gut and you've sussed it out a couple of times between you and that person, not externally, between your girlfriends and everybody else on the outside, but when you've done a little bit of the work between you and the person, and you feel like it's not working, don't push it. Don't push a square through a circle. I've always been a big believer in that. And a lot of times you get to pushing squares through circles. That's when you're trying to make something fit that's not supposed to fit. You got to be confident and comfortable enough to just move on. So I agree 100%.
Yeah, definitely, ladies. Again, and when I even say that the man will respect you in the sense of not that he's gonna respect you or want to be back in a relationship, or now fight for the thing that you wanted, but more of a case of the fact that he now knows he can't play you like that. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, if I'm playing, I mean, of course, there are more men with more, I would call more dangerous instincts than I have, right? I have a limit. So my limit is, if I realize you've got good boundaries, I just don't go there. It's like, yo, that's gonna blow back differently on me. The wind will blow differently on me. I'm good. So, like, a lot of men will stop because they realize you've got good boundaries. A lot of men will stop playing their game with you when they realize, there's not much area to squeeze here. I can't really get by here, can't get by here. And she's actually wanting a relationship. A lot of men will pause and stop, right? Now, the rest of them are really dangerous dogs. Those ones, they're a different breed. But most men that are willing to play, if you've got good boundaries, it's not you they're playing with. Because it's too much effort, it's too much time, it's gonna be emotional investment. He's got to draw you in completely, and that's gonna leave him exposed. Because most men, this is the thing: as much as we want to play, we don't like bad blood. What I mean by that is, we're not trying to have, we want to get in and leave as clean as we possibly can. We're not looking for a bomb to blow up in our face, because that's a lot of energy to deal with. Do you know what I'm saying? Right? There are some men that are really don't mind that thing. They're probably your N word, right? But the majority of men who want to play the game, that's not how they want to play it. So, I think in this case, you walking away, it's not even about me, it's about you. Okay. And here's the thing: any woman that's like walked away from me, or like decided, you know what, this is not for me, can I be honest with you? It didn't make me want to be in a relationship with them again. I just wanted to play. I wanted to play my game. If they came back, I would have played my game again. You know what I mean? Your walking away is not to change me. It's that's not what I'm saying, ladies. Don't use a walk away as a change me. It's not a change me. Okay, the walk away is to let me. It's for you, right? And when you have that energy in a relationship too, when the person knows that if this thing does not fit you, if you're not doing well, if we're not trying to progress and go forward, if we're not trying to be in alignment, and he knows or she knows even, but more case we're talking about later, and he knows this is about you, that you're not gonna take it, you'll realize our performance will be up. Our performance will go down when you start to lower our expectations. I'm just gonna be real with you, right? And I mean that in a sense of not like putting like a whole load on our neck, but sensible expectations. If you're expecting that, you will see that we will match that expectation, because men are men of performance. We like to be validated by the performance. We like to be measured by the performance because it's measurable. So when you decide to put up an expectation, those who want to meet it will meet it. Now, some of you got some mad expectations. That's a whole different story. But for people who've got sensible expectations from a man, we will meet those expectations. So if you decide to walk away, walk away. Don't look back. You heard the story of Lot and his wife. The wife went back. Don't look, be Lot's wife. Don't look back and turn to a pillar of salt. Keep going. Keep on going. Keep on walking, because all that's back there is Sodom and Gomorrah for you. I'm gonna do you dirty. So keep going. You understand? So keep moving forward. You've made a decision, and that's what we were saying about earlier on the last tip. You know, yes, you're yes, and no be no. Go forward. You know what I mean? Any other additions to that last point, guys? If not, yeah, no. No? All right, cool. So I'll ask a few of the questions that were there, but the ladies, they wanted to ask. I've got a few here for you guys. Okay, first question is from everyone was Yasmin. She said, "How do you put boundaries when the man puts pressure on you to get information from you, or puts pressure to get into your mind?" How do you put boundaries out? Corey's nodding his head like he got the answer already. Go on, sir.
All right. So first, I would say this: that any man that's right for you is not going to pressure you. Point blank. There should be no pressure whatsoever. If it's gradually getting to know you, if you want to take several weeks to get to know you, several months to get to know you, I mean, he may have a cutoff time. Well, hold on now. I need to know a little bit more about you. If there's some depth to you or not. That's a whole different type of situation. But if you're saying that he's trying to get information out of you as far as like trying to know what your likes are, so to kind of manipulate your mind, so that's someone who's not for you. So that's what you consider to be a red flag. And at a red flag, you have to discard that. Put that to the side and let that go, because there are men out there who will definitely try to pressure you. Definitely try to say, "What do you like doing? What do you like? What? How do you spend your spare time? What do you want to do?" He's just asking you questions, kind of get into your head to kind of do those things, those set things. So if you list A, B, and C, he's going to try to become the type of man that gives you A, B, and C. What you want is a man who's going to be authentically himself, and then see if you can work with what he already is authentically by being himself. If that's what's going to bring you joy, if that's what's going to make you smile, not him asking you what makes you smile and then him trying to do exactly what makes you smile. That's not authentic at all. So yeah, pay attention to that, lady. That's a good question.
I love that. Sean, what's your response to that as well?
Yeah, I think Corey said it perfectly. You know what I mean? If you're being pressured or pushed, and it feels uncomfortable, and we all have that, gauge internally to know when something's too far or somebody keeps going after a question that you just don't want to answer, then that situation is one that you need to just exit stage left pretty quickly, because there should be no reason in a very early situation where I'm pushing you to answer something, and you telling me clearly, for whatever reason you don't want to answer it, and I keep going after it. Then that means I have a goal and I don't care about you. I'm trying to get to a goal. So it's always going to be that way.
Love that. Yeah, I think you both summed it up perfectly. If somebody's pressuring you into this situation, and you can feel the pressure, so that's why you're asking the question. So if you can feel the pressure, here's a good tip again. Remember, I always talk about communication, which is listen, hey, look, I appreciate you wanting to know, but I just don't feel like I'm ready to give that kind of information out right now. Strong, sturdy, keep it succinct, and keep it straight. his response is going to determine what you're going to do next. Because if now he hears you, and if someone tells me, listen, hey, look, I would love to share that information, I'm just not ready in that place right now, I'm going to be like, oh, okay, sorry, my bad. You know what? I was just asking. Okay, cool, that's no worries. When you're ready to share it, you share it with me. Because I want to know you, right? I want to get to know you, and I'm trying to go somewhere with you. I'm not about to pressure you any further. If you've told me, hey, you're not ready to release that information to me just yet, right? That's where your self-esteem comes in, and where your good, clear-cut communication comes in. You can't be scared to let me know, because at the same time, too, this might be a genuine brother too. It might not be a wolf. It might be a genuine brother who's just a little bit too eager, right? So your clear-cut communication is going to decipher right down the middle whether this person's too eager or whether this person genuinely is a hunter and just trying to get something out of you. Yes, Sean.
I was gonna say too, a good question, and this is simple as simple gets. Whenever you are at a crossroads about where somebody is, ask why. You know, just curious, why is that important? Or, after telling you it's not something I'm interested in answering right now, why is it something that you're so interested in knowing? Because then that's going to get to the root of what it's really all about, or it's going to put that other person in a position to kind of think about why they're pressing so closely. But you'll get to something. So I always think about asking a why question whenever you're at a kind of quandary.
Love that response, Sean. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Okay, next question for you, ladies. Next question for you guys is: do men find it more attractive when women are straightforward with the questions? Mandem, do you find it more attractive when the lady's straightforward with the questions? I already know Corey's answer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Please be straightforward with me. Because one, that's what's going to tell me what I'm dealing with. And I think it's mutually beneficial, because me being straightforward with you being straightforward with me, we're going to get to the root cause real soon. We're going to find out what this person is about real soon. And it's nothing wrong with straightforward answers. People feel like, straightforward questions. People feel like sometimes it can feel a bit interviewing type, and you don't want to get that vibe. There are ways you can ask questions without giving off a vibe that you're trying to interview someone. I've given examples before in the past about how you can do that, but I think it's important to be able to have that ability to have an interaction with someone and get information that you need from someone, and in a straightforward way, or even if it's in a roundabout way, but it's giving you a direct response. What you want is the direct response. You don't want to give them anything that they can, kind of maneuver or finagle into their way. Into their favor. So for me, I think just being straightforward is good. Getting the straight response is even better.
Go for it, Sean.
I think it depends on the question. Because if it's a personal, very intimate question, sometimes, that might require a little bit of subtlety, the way you go about it. And I also think it depends on the nature of your relationship, right? So being straightforward in and of itself is good, but when it comes to questions, for me, I would say time and season, and depending on what the question is, right? So I think that is going to get you a better outcome, and then prepare us to have better dialogue about whatever it is we're looking to talk about.
Yeah, I don't mind a straight forward question. I like. In fact, I love it because I ask people a lot of questions anyway. So if someone's intrigued enough to ask me questions, actually, it's probably a weakness of mine. I got to watch out for some of you ladies out there. I'm lying. I love straightforward questions. Continue to ask them because it shows that you're interested, and it's rare. Do you know what it is? I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. Ladies complain about men not being interested in women asking about more about them. I find that women also are the same way. It's just like there are shortage of men who ask good questions to find out who you are. There are shortage of women too who ask good questions to find out who the heck you are. and actually genuinely intrigued to listen to what you're about, who you are, and ask actual good questions, not just like, hey, how are you doing? You okay? Like, I mean, deep questions, asking you real deep questions, like see what you think about something. You know what I mean? And holding that space to have a conversation or to even listen. Same way there's a shortage of men of that caliber. I think there's a shortage of women of that caliber. You know what I'm saying? I think there are great women all around, and there are women that, bro, when you meet them and they ask questions that you're like, I'm usually asking that question, but you asked a really good question. Let me answer that. You know what I'm saying? I think that's also a rarity as well. So yes, I do like women that are straightforward as well. You know what I mean? What? You two looking at me like you thinking. Corey, why are you looking at me for? Corey, why are you looking at me for?
Man, I had the strangest question that came in my head. I don't think it had anything to do with anything, but it was a very strange question.
What's the strange question? Go on.
I mean, it was really a question for us as the fellas on the panel.
Yeah.
Like, if we were to put two women together who make the perfect woman, what would those two women be? Who would those two women be? Like, if it was celebrities, someone that's well known, personalities that we know that's well known. That's I tell you, man, my mind goes on this.
Hey, last time we asked a question like this, the lady's like, see, y'all men only want these type of women. They're not even natural. They're not even this. They're not even that. Look how they got us last time.
Nope. That's why I went off camera that time intentionally. I will not answer that question. Absolutely not.
Boy, I would love that one.
Next slide.
I'm not getting caught in that trap fly today. Nope. Last time they used it against us, bro. They were like, "Oh, see how y'all want natural, but the one you quoted wasn't natural." I said,
exactly. She had on all that makeup. She wears makeup. You say you don't want makeup. She wears weaves. Nope. There's a plethora of beautiful women. I couldn't even think of two to combine.
That's right. That's the answer. That's the answer right there.
Yeah, I couldn't even think of two women to put together.
That's definitely an after conversation right there. You can't do that
one. Yeah, smart choice, boys. Let's not answer that one. They'll get us forever if we answer that question. But yeah, another question the lady asked also. Here it is. Is if you already made some of these big mistakes, is there a way to fix things? For example, regain that respect after wavering. Is there any way back, bro? For me, it's done. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I may be too cynical. What's your guys' thoughts? Is there a way back? Real spit.
I think that's a great question, and I don't think there is a definitive answer for it. It depends on the person and the situation. I think with somebody that is interested in you, yes, there is. You can reset, because we all need grace sometimes. And you'll hear that in relationships where, it started off this way and it went that way and then it changed. But because they had a conversation and they agreed, like, listen, this is, and it could be the woman saying, hey, listen, in the beginning, I did say that I really wasn't ready for something serious, but as I grew to get to know you, I wanted something more serious and I really like you. And then it's just kind of like, then you just have to be willing to see what the other person says. But I would say that's when you need to be straightforward. You need to be clear. Don't play games. Don't throw out texts to see what's going to happen. Don't cook a nice dinner. Try to be romantic and lay something on me. Just say it for what it is. If the situation went a different direction that you didn't want, but now you want something more or less, just be upfront and honest. I think that's the time to be straightforward, upfront, and you'll get your answer.
Yeah, I have to agree. Really depends on those mistakes you made with that person. If that person is truly over those mistakes, if they can forgive you for those mistakes, then yeah, it's a possibility. But you risk the chance of them being brought back up. You risk the chance of rethinking going to the past. That's if you're doing it with someone that you're already with. So I think if you have made some growth in your relationship, you feel like you're a better person and you want the other person back, it may not work in your favor because like Sean and Coach was saying, it can be subjective. If they're not built that way to accept you back, you have to respect that. So I will say that if you are a type of person who, as done some healing, you're better now, then take that into the next relationship, where you can start fresh, where someone can understand your value, you understand that value in a fresh setting. But doing it with someone who you've already made those mistakes with, they've already seen that ugly side of you, that can be hard.
Definitely hear you guys. I think you're actually right. I think if someone is generally down and for you, there's always a way back to have that grace, and to work again. I think also as well. If you are going to double back, I think Sean, you kind of eloquently expressed this earlier on about doubling back, about expressing why you're doubling back. This has to be an expression of why you want to double back. You're not doubling back under pressure. You're not doubling back because you're scared to lose me or whatever. You're doubling back because you realize, actually, you know what, I've actually thought about it, and this is the reason why I want to double back. So that's the difference there. Do you know what I mean? So for instance, let's say if you said, you know what, and I think again it's contextual, so it really depends on the situation. Why would you want to bother regaining somebody's respect if the thing that you left for is a red flag? You know what I mean? The only respect you should be after is your own. You know what I mean? At that point, don't worry about wavering and coming back. Just keep going. But if it's like you're in a relationship, and and you're talking, and you know what, flip, you made a mistake, and you're like, actually, I thought it was this, and I was so steadfast in this. I made a mistake. I came back and I wavered on it. That's cool. We understand those things. But if you're in a dating phase and you're still trying to get to know someone, and it's red flaggish, it's yellow flaggish, whatever, it's in your danger area, you don't need to be thinking about the mistakes you made. You need to be you don't need to be thinking in that respect. You need to think about how you need to keep on going forward. So I think everything is important with context in terms of the situation and what is a situation. And that will help kind of guide your answer as well, going forward. If you've made some of these mistakes, you know what I'm saying. Also, as well, ask yourself the question why you made those mistakes. Because maybe there's a habitual reason as to why you're making these mistakes. Is there self-esteem issues? Are you scared to lose him or she? Like there may be other root reasons as to why you made a mistake. It might not just be a one-off. So you might want to really sit down with yourself first and ask yourself that key question, which leads back into Sean's kind of point as well that he made earlier on, way earlier in the show. What's your thoughts, Corey?
Okay.
Because you was looking at me, so I knew that yes, that's on your mind, bro.
Yeah, you have to excuse me, because I'm hearing things here on my end. That's why I'm on mute. I'm hearing things on my end that's kind of interacting with what's going on with the show. So I'm sorry, but could repeat that last point for me, Coach Joe.
Yeah, no. I was just saying that for the person, they should understand context, and then obviously context of the situation. So it's different situations. There's a yes or no. But in this situation, what I was saying was they should focus on. I mean, they should ask themselves a question: is the mistakes habitual in the sense of, is there a root cause to the mistake, or is it just a genuine in the moment mistake of wavering or going back on whatever they said, or is this something that's deeply embedded in you? You've seen a pattern of behavior like this and you're doing it again. In that case, you need to sit down and just heal. You know what I mean? What are you saying, bro?
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And the fact of it being that if you're in a relationship with someone and you're trying to figure out their offenses of being habitual, or if it's something that happened in the course of a relationship, that should happen relatively early in the relationship, in my opinion. I think couples should have those discussions about things that they've gone through in the past, some hurt they may have been susceptible to, some trauma, anything that could have a negative impact on the relationship. I think those conversations need to take place. Once you have that conversation, you have an understanding. If you choose to still be there after that conversation, that's a choice. It's all up to you. You can choose to leave, you can choose to stay. But if you choose to stay, then how that person behaves should be something that you keep in the back of your mind. Okay, this could be a reason why he's responding this way. This could be a reason why she's responding this way, because she did tell me we went through X, Y, and Z at this age or that age, or whatever the case is, or this relationship or that relationship. So I think it's important to have the conversation. And if you have the conversation, it makes it a little bit more clear cut. And when they experience those certain things, they can tell if it's something that is from their past or if it's something in the relationship, something that started now. Okay, like what caused your change behavior to happen now if it wasn't anything that we had actually discussed? And that's another conversation to have.
Love that point, bro. Love those points. Absolutely 100. They added to the point. It said, scared to lose him. Dating very tough these days. He's a good person, good looking, and has a good job, and just not ready for marriage like I am. Love this response. I thank you for being open and vulnerable, sharing the true thoughts. So I think if you look at your message, just taking some keywords here. The very first thing is you're scared to lose him. We can leave that as, everyone sometimes can be a little bit scared. That's cool. But I think the very important part here is that you have different endpoints. You said he's just not ready for marriage like I am. Forget everything else. You're ready for marriage and he's not. That's the answer. That's it. There is no other answer needed here. That is your answer. So the wavering aspect I was talking about is this very very point. This is where you go with, what is my intentions when I came into the situation? Do you know what I'm saying? I came into this wanting marriage, and that person is not on what you want. That's fine. This is your opportunity to say, thank you very much. I appreciate my time to walk. What you'll realize is when you decide to walk, your confidence goes up a little bit more, and you'll feel more ready. You'll feel more ready and more um, able to go into places and demand what you actually want. Because until you've done that, you feel scared, right? That you're gonna hurt someone's feelings, or you're gonna hurt the other person, or I'm gonna lose a person. You don't need to. You just need to be truthful to you that this is what I came in for. Unfortunately, I've not got what I want, and unfortunately, we're not gonna work out, and it's okay because he's given you an answer. He's not ready for marriage like you are. What's your thoughts, Corey?
Yeah, I like this statement because it really is going to go back to why. That's my follow up for this one. Like, why is he not ready for marriage? And that answer will give me more leeway as far as how I will respond to this question. But if a man is saying, okay, if you're saying you're scared to lose a man, dating is very tough out here. It is very tough. He's a good person, good looking, and has a good job. Those are good qualities as well. But that marriage piece, if that marriage piece is a deal breaker for you, then yes, by all means, I agree with Coach Joe, let it go. But if it was something as far as he wasn't good looking, or if his job is not such a good job, he has a job but it's not a good job, certain things you can say, okay, I'll deal with this a little bit longer until he gets his stuff together. And you can do that. You have that right to do that. But when it's something like marriage, it's something that's so serious, so huge, so big, that if he's not marriage minded at all, then that's one thing. If he's saying he's not marriage minded right now, that's another thing, where he's just not in a space to get married right now. And that could be for a lot of different reasons. I mean, people are not marriage minded when they don't see successful marriages around them. If they grew up and all they see was divorce and all they see was single parents all around, they don't see or understand the benefit of marriage. So if you have someone that's like that, it may take a little more time. But at the end of the day, if he's not going to change his mind when it comes to that, if he doesn't understand the value of marriage, then even when he's ready to get married, understand the values is a huge part of that. So like Coach O said, it may be the green light for you to go ahead and let him go. If he's not marriage minded and you are.
Yeah, I love that point as well. And I would say as well to FRFM75, this is a beautiful moment just to reflect on why this is even a question for you. Do you know what I mean? This is exactly what we're talking about today. And this is not a shame at all. This is a really beautiful moment, because this is where we can say, fantastic, you can actually put it into practice, all the things we've been talking about. You know what I mean? So now you can sit with yourself and just take some time out and really get to the root of, why did I almost compromise my time? Because that's what would have been wasted, your time, with a hope that I would get married from this gentleman. What was pulling me? Because we're all going to be pulled by something. I've got weakness. You know what I'm saying? Big batty girl, I'm going to be honest with you. It's a weakness. It's my grievance. I'm going to be honest with you. You understand? Yeah. And I could potentially be pulled in a certain direction. But once I now know that's my weakness, I'm going to also be conscious and aware in those moments. Hey, coach, with them type of gal, you might have a weakness. You got to be very careful how you play. You got to be very careful how now you maneuver, how you interact with that person. And then I have to question myself now and my decision making skills as to, okay, why am I thinking this way? It's about being conscious and self aware. So why are you thinking what you're thinking? So it's a great moment actually just to kind of sit with yourself and just kind of think, why was I about to, or why was I allowing myself for the period of time I was to ignore the fact that I wanted something? And hopefully you've also articulated that to the gentleman, and he's then articulated saying that, "Do you know what? I'm not really on the marriage thing." You've received that answer and you've kind of waited on it a little bit. That should now make you really think and say, hey, do you know what? Why did I sit there for so long? Because he gave me an answer. You know what I mean? And that's okay. That's okay because you haven't been finished yet. He hasn't taken you in and sucked you into his world. So you're still good. So you can ask that question of yourself and just take your time and sit with it and just ask yourself that key question before you go out there again and potentially repeat the same pattern of behavior. You know what I mean? You feel me? So yeah. Sean, did you want to add to this particular part?
Yeah, I think you should be able to use some of the other things we discussed and assess whether you both are on the same page. And is it just a matter of timing, or is it just you're just totally not aligned, right? Um, it, I think you sometimes you need to ask the tough questions, right? And then just be prepared for whatever the answer is, as difficult as it is. And in a lot of instances, you know the answer, but just for clarity's purposes, because you have invested time with the particular guy, I would say just ask straight out. Is this something you just do you see yourself married at all? Do you see yourself married ever? Is that something you want with me? Or what is it? And then just let them answer. Don't fill in the blanks. Don't say anything else. Just hear what he has to say, and I think you'll get your answer one way or the other. And you can make the appropriate decision.
Love that. Thank you very much, boys. Another question here. This was from Coco Bunny. Looking all sultry in a picture. Yeah, she said I'm almost 40 and I'm ready to be serious, but the guy I'm talking to wants to wait till marriage, but I want to drive the car first. So, gentlemen, it's usually us saying these things,
She
It's
flipped
usually
the
the man them
table. She
saying it.
flipped the
She
table on
flipped the
him.
table right there. She said, "I'm Coco Bunny, baby. Y'all better recognize." Um, Gentlemen, share some wisdom on this. What you think is the best course of action or response to this particular question or dilemma?
Okay, all right, I'll go. I thought Sean was saying something. So my take on this is first you have to respect his boundaries. Honestly, you do, because you don't want to be someone who is pushing him. We just talked about a man being pushy towards a woman. You don't want to be pushy towards him when he already has his mind made up that he wants to wait into marriage in order to be intimate. And if you do push him and he does give in, you don't want to be his biggest regret either, because he has a set goal to do this, not to do anything until he gets married. Then you got to be a full game. If you're not full game, then it may be best for you to leave the situation. I'm not gonna lie to you, because you want one thing, he wants another. If sex is that big of a deal for you, being intimate is that big of a deal for you, then it can definitely um, kind of mess up the relationship aspect, like the day-to-day, to seeing each other, to being around each other, the kissing, the holding, all that stuff. So it can play with you. It can play with your mind. So just something to be mindful of.
Love that. Sean, what's your thoughts? There's a wisdom to share here.
So I would say, is marriage on the table? Are you two engaged? Or is he looking to be married to you? Is that something, like, I think, where are you in the relationship? Um, to understand. And what is it that you want to test drive? Because some women, they want to know certain things, about a man. You want to know what we're working with. And if that's your concern, there's ways to do that without sex, but I would say before we even get there, are you two spiritually on the same page? Because if spiritually you're not on the same page, it's going to be very different. It's going to be very difficult to navigate the marriage or the relationship, right? But if you both are spiritually on the same page, I think there's other ways you can go about doing that. If it's really a man that he's like a man of God and he's like, I'm standing on my godly principles and this is why I don't want to do it, but I do see a future with you and he's committed, then don't let this be the thing that breaks up your relationship. I think you'll know when you know. And test driving the car ahead of time doesn't always mean that it's going to be a great relationship overall. You might have great sex, but a horrible relationship, or okay sex, but a great relationship. And the sexual chemistry and compatibility can grow. So I think if it's really somebody that you value, you care about, you see a future with, you want to marry them, don't let this be the thing that, breaks up your relationship if the other things are in play.
Hey, Coach, can you pull the last question up for me again? Because I think the answer is in that question. Okay, almost 40. Serious, but the guy I'm talking to, sir, madam, if I'm with anyone, they tell me I'm the guy they're talking to and not their fiance, not their boyfriend, not a significant other. And she says I'm talking to, I'm thinking that this is a newer end of a relationship. So if this is a newer end of a relationship, this may very well be a red flag. Not necessarily for him, but for you, because if it's this new, and then on the next question, you said he talked to your mom about marrying you already, and it's just a guy that you're just talking to. It's not a relationship or anything like that. You guys have been seeing each other for a while. That's something different. I mean, that's huge to go to someone's mother and talk to them about marrying their daughter. That's something you cannot take lightly. So I don't know how serious this guy is about you. I don't know what the span of time frame is that you guys have been dating for him to get to this point, but that may be something to look into. So what do you get from that, Coach? Do you get that it's just talking to him? It's a guy I'm talking to, and it's not like a particular title along with it. So what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if you read it, it's just I'm almost 40. I'm ready to be serious. But the guy I'm talking to wants to wait till I'm married, but I want to drive the car first. I guess they have two different aspects of what serious is. You know what I mean? Like, not to say that either one is less serious or more serious than the other. They have two different understandings of what serious is to them. And I think that is where there needs to be this form of communication, because we have two different images we're dealing with. He wants marriage. She wants to test drive the car first. And it's not the way she's kind of put it. I guess that's not really. She hasn't said that she's also going to go married. She wants to get married too. She said she wants to test drive the car first without really adding anything else into it. Which means for me, I don't know if you're thinking about marriage as of yet with this gentleman. You maybe get there, but I don't think you're thinking about marriage as of yet to that space just yet for you. So I think we're on two different images we're working with those two individual people here. I think I think you kind of put it earlier on as well. The greater kind of thing here is really having that conversation in terms of where you want to go, because you're at the crossroads now where you're getting to, basically, because you're starting to ask the question. You want to test drive? He's like, I want to be married. I'm looking to get married. We're gonna have to ask the question is, and what do we want in the end? Right? We're gonna have to ask that question. What do we actually want? And if you both align, fantastic, let's go forward. And we have to kind of figure this part out in terms of what you're going to do. Because if he says he wants to keep not having sex before marriage, are you going to be okay with that? If not, you may need to exit the relationship. This is going to be one of your breakers. If you are going to be okay with it, then fantastic. I would have said this as well. I know some people are going to say, my husband waited for me and he gave away. Listen, your husband is unique. Listen, please. There are exceptions to rules. There are exceptions to rules. I get too many of those messages. My husband waited for me because I wanted to wait. Yeah. But most of us are not going to wait. So let's not make an exception to rule. If you believe you can do this thing, then you go along with it. If you can't, you might need to bow out. So it's all about what you believe Yeah, actually, she put in a message here. He's more serious than me. Yeah, it's done. Yeah, it's done. Corey, jump in. It's done.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not
yeah,
going anywhere.
yeah. The thing for me for this, it seems like, and you're not going to be a bad person for me saying this, Coco, but it seems like you want to test drive this car to turn the ignition on in your mind to think about marriage. Like you can't think about marriage until you get that aspect of the relationship out of the way, until you so you know what you're getting. He may be a great guy. He may be someone you can talk to, all the good stuff, everything, the whole list of things you want in a man. He checked that box off. But that one about driving that car, he hasn't checked that box off yet. And you can't even put yourself in that marriage minded aspect until you have driven that car. So I think that may be something that's coming up here, Coach.
I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. Uh, wait, Coco, what are you trying to figure out how to tell him? Are you trying to figure out how to tell him about the test driving, or in terms of you not going further in the relationship? Like, I just want to clarify what you mean by, wanting to, how you're going to figure out what to tell him, just so we can get a bit more clarification. I don't want to jump too soon, without more information. You know what I mean? I want to be able to hopefully deal with this information. What are you thinking, Corey? Your brain is tinkering, bro.
It's moving a million miles a minute. Okay, so I'm trying to understand now, how does she know that he told her mother, and what was her mother's response to it? It's like I have a lot of questions for this. I know we got to move on, but I did have a lot of questions. I want to talk to him about the no sex part. Okay, so you want to make sure also that he's not rushing the process along because he wants to have sex. And sometimes, if you've been celibate for so many years, so long, and you meet a good woman or a good man, you're like, okay, this is the one. Let's go ahead and get this thing moving because I'm tired of being celibate. Don't get into that. Don't be a part of that either, because what ends up happening, you get what you want. Next thing you know, everything else in relationship starts to fall apart bit by bit. And now you're in a situation where you're either speaking about counseling, separation, divorce. It can easily turn into a snowball effect. So make sure you're not rushing because of that. Make sure he's not rushing because of that. Because it sounds like it's a fairly new relationship.
Sean, what are you thinking? I mean, that's what you think in there.
I just think, like, is there something else? Because if you really like him and he's really serious about you, why can't you guys have this conversation? I just don't understand. Like, why don't you feel comfortable enough to talk to him about, hey, listen, this is where I am. I know where you are, but this is where I am. And you guys figure a way out to navigate that, or if the relationship is going to move forward. I think, like, that to me is a bigger red flag, is if this is somebody that's serious enough to consider you to be married to, why can't you guys talk about this? Um, and if it's new, because I see here she's saying it's new, then why are you rushing it? If it is a new situation, why are you rushing the sex part? And you're obviously, you said you're close to 40, so you're seasoned enough to know what's what. And I think you can gauge chemistry without getting to that point, if that's what you want, right? And if you're willing to make that sacrifice for him for the greater good of the relationship. But I think you just need to suss out first if you two are on the same page, if you two are going to be ideal mates for a relationship, and put the sex on the back burner. If it's new, if it's enough for you to say it's new, then put that to the side and really get to the meat of the matter. No pun intended. And try to figure out, is this somebody that you really want to be with before the sex part comes into play? I think that's the most important part. That would be my thing for you, right? And then you fill out all the pieces from there. And as we said, we're all grown. If you're trying to assess the dude, his size, I know that, a lot of women, they want to know. They don't want to be, they don't want to be disappointed, right? There's things you can do, right? There's definitely things you can do that aren't sex where you will know what's what. So you got a lot of things to suss out and figure out.
Yeah, she said this man. She said that the man is a good guy, but he's not easy to talk to. That is huge. Don't just walk by that. Yeah, you can't talk to your man. That's a problem. So, yeah, I mean, she got exit doors to the left, to the right, in front of her, behind her. So she just need to pick one and go for that one.
Yeah. And he's church, so that's gonna be a little bit difficult as well. So if you're not, church is, difficult as well. That's a tough one right there. So I think Coco already kind of knows her answer already, what she wants to do. I believe you're just looking for a sounding board to kind of hopefully kind of just reaffirm your decision that you want to make. And I want to say this: listen, it's okay for it not to be okay. I mean, it's okay not for it not to work out. It's okay that, yes, I don't want you to feel like you have to regret that you've passed up on a good guy. Sometimes that can be your thought. Oh, I've passed up on a good guy, and will I ever get another good guy like that? Yeah, but if that good guy doesn't fit you, that good guy won't be a good guy for very long. So, don't feel bad about passing up on someone and you thinking maybe I'm going to regret this later on down the line. You have different core values. You're not compatible in that sense. There may be a connection, but you won't be compatible, and that lack of compatibility will inevitably be the nuke that destroys the relationship. So, I would say, listen, there's nothing wrong with you to say this is not working for me. We've had a good running, and unfortunately, I believe our core values don't match, and going your way. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I would say don't feel bad about making a decision. Don't feel bad about making a decision. It doesn't have to always work out. Sean, why are you cackling over there, bro?
Comments, there's so many women that are like, give them to, they want them.
It's funny.
They're like, let them go and send them my way.
The first thing I think about is that scene from Coming to America. Like, if he's really a prince, I'll marry him. That's the first thing that goes in my head. These comments, wow.
Listen, because church is difficult, bro. Like, people who are church, there's nothing wrong with them, but church people are very difficult because of the relational aspect. The way that they view the world is through a particular lens. I think I spoke about this with Devon Franklin and Megan Good. I said, although he works in Hollywood, he's very church. Megan Good is not church. It's going to be very difficult. You're going to see things completely different. You're going to handle things slightly differently. So again, it's about having that a similar mindset, not necessarily the same, but a similar mindset, and looking at core values and attitudes. Because I'm not church. I know what church looks like, bro. And that's the one that they keep crying out, them men don't have game. Because the way they relate with the world is slightly different. So just, the church guys are probably looking at you, Coco, because you ain't church. It's a nice complementary energy. You're giving them something that they don't have. So maybe that's why you were asking earlier on about why these church guys and pastors keep coming after you, because there's a part of them that is, I don't want to say dark. I want to say there's a part of them that wants to escape, and you are their escapism. I'm not saying don't fall for it, but I'm saying don't become the escapism for them, right? Because sometimes what happens when people are church, when they're soaked in by just doing church activities, becoming in the church, being part of the four walls of church, becoming a minister in the church, you are sometimes that spark that you're outside of those four walls. You know what I mean? You give them a form of escapism. So that's why they're probably attracted to you. They see you got enough church in you to be like, okay, she's cool. And then it's like, but you got that other side of you that makes me want to escape. Yeah, it sounds nice. It's a fantasy. It's great at first, but his church will kick in eventually, and he will expect church from you. And that's also another clash that in the long run, that just becomes a problem. And then you'll hear yourself on a sermon in 10 years' time talking about how my wife didn't know my needs. You don't want to be, you don't want it to be that, you know what I mean? So yeah, and it's okay. It's okay to be different. It's just not going to be if you're not in alignment. If you're not in alignment. Okay, last few questions because we're running out of time. Now 2 hours have gone past. Okay. Question here is Jessica says, do other men keep their peers accountable in their toxic tendencies, or is it not worth the time? Sean said he's in. Tacker man in. Yes, Sean.
How you be getting me? I'm just here minding my business.
That's what I'm getting you.
Yeah, no, I think it depends on the relationship. But yeah, if it's somebody I'm close to, absolutely. Absolutely. If somebody is moving in a wrong direction, or they're out here, treating women in a disrespectful way, yeah, we gonna talk about it. Absolutely. Not in a judgmental way, but we gonna talk about it.
Yeah, for me, it's yes and no, to be honest with you. Because if I know my words are going to have impact on his life, if I feel like he's the type of friend that will listen to me and take my words internally, then yes, I will talk to him about it. But if I feel like it's one of the guys, we all have different types of friends. If it's that guy who's been doing this thing from day one, he's not going to change just because I say something, and I can make that known. The only thing I can do is um, share my experiences with him. Like if I share my positive experiences with him, maybe he may look at that and say, "Wow, okay, that's a different spin. Let me look into doing this." That's a decision he's gonna have to make though, because no matter how accountable we hold other men, they have to want to change. And I think that's what's the missing element. A lot of women need to understand that yeah, we can hold people accountable. We can say we can scream into to the top of our lungs, "Man, you're wrong. You need to start treating women better." But until they're willing to change, they're not going to change. No matter how someone barks at them, talks to them, sits down, have a casual conversation, you have to want to change. And that's the problem, is that some men are just conditioned in such a way to be, have to give women negative experiences when it comes to relationships.
Definitely hear you. If you're my cool boy, I'm gonna hold you accountable. You're gonna hold me accountable, but I can only hold you to account to a certain degree. A man's gonna do what a man's gonna do. Do you know what I mean? So of course I will hold you accountable, but at the same time I'm also have to give you room because you are a man. You're gonna make your own decisions. If I want to keep you as a friend, there's only so far I can go. I can't grab you, pick you up, and physically take you somewhere. So yes, I will definitely hold you accountable. Let you know that you're mashing up, if you're in my friend circle, and same for me, the guys will let me know. And they also know as well, sometimes when they tell me I'm hearing you and I definitely know you're telling the truth, I just ain't listening to you right now. Like we've all been there. Like I'm ready to do what I'm gonna do. So man, them, I know you're gonna tell me this, but I ain't gonna listen. So that's the unfortunate aspect to that, if you want to call it that. Every man will want to make his own kind of decision in his own kind of way. So yeah, we do keep them together. We do keep them locked and loaded. But yeah, you can only hold a man so far. Um, Someone said they don't hold men accountable unless it affects them. Baby, if you listen, we hold our own men accountable. We don't hold every man accountable. Okay, we cannot hold men that do not have a relationship with us accountable. I've said this before. Your men are different from women. You trying to hold a man who does not know you, like you, respect you, know who the heck you are, is going to feel like you're chatting absolute crud to his face. He does not care what you got to say. So holding him accountable does not work. Unless I have some level of status, power, or wealth well above him, he most likely still will not listen. That's men. That's the unfortunate thing. That's the wickedness of men. That's how God, unfortunately, how we fell from Adam and Eve. That's the problem. It's just it's a shame, you know. Um, cool. Next point. Oh, no, sorry, wrong question. This one here. How lack of self confidence plays in men showing a predatory, manipulative side of them, trying to put pressure on you to get information out of you. So, does I guess self confidence or self esteem issues, play a part um, in that? Does it play a part in the predatory, manipulative aspect? I mean, I must answer like I think I'm hearing. Yeah, it does. If I'm in my moving mad, your self confidence, your self esteem, your lack of boundaries is exactly who I need. Yeah, you're good meat. The same way a lion looks at the back of a pack to see who's the one that's moving a little bit some way. Self-confidence, boundaries, self-esteem all play a part in you being chewed up like the fresh meat that you are. So listen, if that person's looking to get information out of you, poor boundaries will allow yourself to get there. But Sean's face is killing me, bro. Sean, why are you looking like that, bro?
It's just a very complex question. I mean, it's just very I don't. It's more of a question, or is it a statement? Is
Yeah.
it an analytical? I mean, look, that's why I'm puzzled a little bit about it. You know, I guess, yeah, but okay. Like, I just don't get it, but it's all right. I think the way you explained it, the way you packaged it, is the best way, and there's nothing I can add or take away to it. So I'm gonna leave it there.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. I was gonna say, I mean, Kojo, you explained it perfectly, bro. Because that I wasn't sure if she was saying he has lack of self-confidence or if he thinks she has lack of self-confidence. I was kind of confused. The side she was coming from there, but you answered it perfectly. So well done.
Okay. Man, y'all be finishing me, man. Oh my god. Yeah. Okay. Do men marry settle? I guess do men settle when they marry because they found I know what she means, but yeah, do men marry because they found the right woman, or is it more to do with him becoming the man he wants to be for any woman before he gets married? Ooh. Oh. Mando, what is it?
So is that like, do we settle down with the right woman and get married, or do we wait to become the man that we want to be before
I guess so,
we get
yeah.
married? I
Do we
think it's a
settle?
little. I think it's a little of both. You
Mm,
know, and it's funny. It's like, which comes first, the chicken or the egg? I think a lot of instances, the first part is us being ready to be married.
mm.
That's going to be the first part, and then the next part is going to be the right woman, right? But typically it's not going to happen in the reverse order, where we'll have a great woman but we're not ready, so we'll just settle down because it's the right woman. Typically that doesn't happen. That's when you see those men that kind of get dragged right to the altar, or they just don't ever fully commit to the marriage part, but they'll do everything else because they're not really ready. Doesn't matter. The woman part is less as important as me being ready first. Once I'm ready, then it will make room for the right woman for me to settle down with. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, makes
Um,
sense.
I think it does boil down to fine tuning. You know, I want to make sure I'm the best man I could possibly be, to be a good husband to my wife. I think that's really important because if I found the right woman and I'm not ready, I'm going to mess that up. You know, if she's actually the right woman for me and the timing is bad, that's a perfect example of what that is. You can meet someone who's great for you, who could be a potential husband, could be a potential wife for you, and you mess it up because you're not ready. So I have to make sure that I'm ready. I have to make sure that I'm doing my due diligence to make sure I'll be the right man for her for the rest of her life and the rest of my life. And that's a lot to take in. So there's a process for that. Definitely.
I'm with you, bro. Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I said Sean's always laughing at me. The guy's always laughing at me because I told you, listen, 2022 is not the year I settle down, bro. 2022 it's not the year I settle. I'm so sorry. 2022 is not the year I settle. There is too much things to explore out here.
You're
Okay.
gonna keep kicking that soccer ball down the field. It's gonna be 2024, and you still gonna have that same speech.
Yo, hey, listen, yeah. There's too much fun out here, Kez, and I know I'm not ready to settle down. If I do, it won't take long before Kojo does madness. Do you know what I mean? And so for me, it is if I could. there are great women out there, amazing women. But I think you're absolutely right, Corey, what you said, which is that the timing right now, I'm not in that space. Look at them telling me they're praying for me. I'm just not in that space right now. The timing won't be great at the moment. You know, I could meet the baddest girl right now, and I still wouldn't be ready. I wouldn't be ready because I'm just trying to just feel out what's going on in my life, trying to achieve certain things. I want to focus on the work I'm doing, you know what I'm saying? And also I want to live what I actually preach. I preach for men to get financially stable. I preach for men to know themselves. I preach for men to come into their own before settling down. Because we have too many men that are immature in these areas and they settle down prematurely, and then we get absolutely shunted in a marriage and we get hurt. It's not every man. Some men make it good when they start young. Some of us have no clue, absolutely no clue, what's going on. So, um, you know, we're just trying to, just make sure that we're doing the right thing. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, we've got to mature, you know, and focus. You feel me? So yeah, I think in this question, do men marry when they settle? I don't know if they necessarily settle, but I would say that we tend to. Some men do. Some men do generally do settle, and I think a lot of men do find the right woman. You know, and they're in the right place, right time, right season. They've matured and they can get married. You know.
You know
Yeah.
what? I think that the men who do settle to get married because they found the right woman, they usually rush into it because they feel like it's off an ultimatum. They're being forced. They're being pushed into marriage. The conversation is over their shoulder every 2 seconds. So now, yeah, I'm going to rush and get married. Like, you're a good woman, I'm rushing and get married. But you have to wait till that man is ready. Just want to say that part.
Yeah, love that, bro. Love that. The chat's hot right now, right now. So Corey's questions here now. I have a question for the panel. What makes a man look at a woman as a wife? Yeah, what is that? Mm,
Hey,
mm,
that's a good question. I like that one.
mm.
Um, I will say this, that the preconceived idea that a woman holds back who she is to her man until she gets married is crazy to me. I think you should be able to have those wifey qualities so I'll know exactly what I'm getting when we do decide to say I do. I don't think you should hold back in. Don't sit there and say, oh, well, you're just a girl, I'm just a girlfriend right now. If you can't show me your wifely skills that you have, then I need to see a wife when I look at you. You know, I can't just go off of, okay, hey, we get along pretty well. We watch some TV together. We have good conversations, and that's it. I need to see certain actions done as well to make me feel like, okay, this is what I'm coming home to every day. This is what's going to relieve my stress every day. This is someone who I can count on every day. I need to see that. That's what's going to push me further towards marriage if I have someone by my side who's a true partner in that sense. You know, when finances come up, someone who's got your back financially, if that comes up, someone who's got your back emotionally, someone who supports you, that stuff is what matters in order to see a wife and somebody, in my opinion. That's just me though. Again, good question though. Yeah.
Sean?
Hmm. Um, some of it, I mean, Corey touched on some of the tangible things. I'll go on the intangibles. It's a feeling, you know, like I think when you can, and for me, when I knew, it was envisioning, not being able to envision my life without her, right? Seeing my future and thinking of her. When I have those emotions, when I have those feelings, um, that would is what makes me, you know, envision, or think of a woman as a wife, right? When I think about how she handles conflict, right? How are our disagreements? Those things are very important to me. Like how do we deal with conflict together, right? All those things are things that would make me see a woman as my wife.
I hear that. For me, do you know what it is? Yeah. Um, I don't know. For me, what makes me see someone as a wife really? It's just if we connect on the attitudes and values. Can I talk to you? Can I share my heart's burdens with you? Do our visions align? That's what makes me see you as a wife. Do you know what I'm saying? So if I'm getting to know you and the energy is correct and it's right, and those particular aspects I mentioned earlier on are in alignment, then I'm gonna see you as a wife. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna see you as a wife. Um, so for me, yeah, it doesn't. As long as those things are in those places there, and obviously, I gotta find you attractive. You know what I mean? But obviously, aside that, yeah, I don't think it's much. There's not much. It's not a difficult thing. It's just basically, will we align in these key core areas? Are you a born again Christian? Do you love Jesus? Are you really desiring him? Okay, great. Okay. Do you have the same attitudes and values that I have in accordance to how we look at life? Of course, there can be differences, but do our main ones align? Those are the key kind of things there. And can I rest my head on your knee? I always talk about this. Can I rest my head on your knee, and can I trust you with the deep thoughts of my mind or deep concerns of my mind without you using it against me, without you using it as a weakness against me? Like, that's the kind of thing right there. Do you promote that team ethic, that we are one? Do you promote that kind of energy? If you do, then yeah, I can see you as a wife. Why not? You know what I'm saying? And a lot of women do give that, but like I said, just we're not in that space right now.
What's interesting to me is
Yeah.
the fact that out of the three of us, neither one of us mentioned anything about cooking and cleaning, because that minimizes. I know a lot of women feel like that's what we're talking about when we're saying a wifely duty, but that minimizes what a wife truly is. Yes, that's a part of it for some. It may not be a part for others, but neither one of us, out of the three of us, mentioned cooking and cleaning, because there's so much more value that a wife has in her husband's world, in her husband's life, than just cooking and cleaning. Listen, I was raised by a single mother. Okay. She taught me to cook and clean for myself. That's not something that I absolutely need, because I know how to cook if I need to cook. I mean, I know how to. I know how to clean. So if I get a wife who doesn't know how to cook and clean, okay, well, good thing I know how to do it. That's not going to stop me from marrying her. But I'm just saying that that part of it is just a small part of the union between man and woman when it comes to marriage. I just wanted to know that out there.
No, I definitely agree with you on that as well, bro. Definitely agree with that. And I'm a person that holds the value of, if I can't do it myself, I can't expect you that you're doing it to the highest standard of something else when I can't even do it myself. Do you know what I mean? Of course, would it be a bonus? Absolutely. If you knew how to cook and you had cleaning, for me, obviously, I think we mentioned this last time. Yeah, you need to clean. You need to learn how to clean. Okay, because I know how to clean, and I expect just general cleaning. I mean, no one said I'm not expecting you to be the the expertise cleaner, but I'm just talking about general cleaning. Yeah, that for me, we gotta know how to do that. Okay, I shouldn't see a dish or plate underneath your bed gathering legs and arms, okay, because it's been underneath there for so long. It shouldn't be the case, okay? All right. Things that you were doing when you're single cannot be done when we're married, okay? Please, I don't want to see crumbs in the bed. Let's not chew and eat like that. Get yourself a plate if you're gonna do that. Little things like that. But general cleaning, like I'm saying, like I need that from you, okay? General cleaning. But I can do that. You can do that. We can both do it together. But it's not like you're saying, bro. It's not. Oh my god, on the list. Yeah, she better be a cleaner and she better be a chef. Like, no. That's not what I'm saying. No, not at all. Yeah. What are you saying, Sean? Sean's a chef. Sean's a chef anyway. So to be honest, the cooking's out the window.
Yeah, no, listen, I don't have time to fight over household chores. Listen, we can get Molly Maid. That's what Molly Maid is for. They service all the states, so I'm good on that. You know, Clearly we're gonna be respectful of each other, and I'm not gonna live the same way I lived when I was single, and vice versa. But yeah, no, if cleaning is a big deal, or you're working a lot, we'll take care of it. So.
Love that.
I ain't gonna clean, but yeah, I do light stuff, but we can hire somebody to do that, is what I'm saying.
Final question tonight. The final two questions. So I didn't realize another question there. That's the last two questions that we've done. How do you navigate dating or developing a relationship being a successful professional with limited time, not wavering in interest on the man or woman, but truly limited in time available? Please help our sis. Cries love him, or Chris loves him. Beautiful dark skin, love it.
Yeah,
Chocolate. I love that chocolate. Mhm.
yeah. This is huge, Ray. But this is something I was mentioning earlier on in the conversation, that there are some men who want to be in a committed relationship, but because it's only 8 hours, it's only 24 hours in a day, then that it can cause some balancing issues. And she's saying the same thing, that she's a professional woman. She has limited time, but she has an interest in a man, but limited time is available. So your time that's available for him, the best way I can tell you to do this, because you can't stop grinding, you can't stop working, you can't stop being a professional. But what you can do is make sure that you're aligning yourself with someone with a similar schedule as yours, so that available time that you have is also available time that they have. That's why a lot of people say that people with kids want to date other people with kids, because it's an understanding at that point. And I get that. So if you have someone who's career minded, someone who has goals as well as you do, who is a professional as well as you are, and your time is aligned in that way, then the time that you have available, yeah, you guys can spend that time together, or you can converse or whatever.
Love that. Sean, what's your thoughts?
I think it's just being clear and upfront. And I think that's the time, when being direct is important, right? If both of you are busy, then set that expectation up front. And then if the person is interested and there's mutuality in the dating, then you will see each of you making those efforts to spend time with each other, right? So if Monday through Friday your shot really, after work is not really your prime time because of the demands of your work, but the weekends are when you're free, then make sure your weekend is free, right? To spend time with the person. Right. So if Saturday is your day, or Saturday, night, and then Sunday morning and brunch is your whatever days you guys settle on, then you sticking to that and having some, I don't want to say a schedule, but having that time together where you guys have carved out and you're able to work through that, then that's going to show you how interested the person is, right? If it's just going to be a fly by night, or they're going to be like, you know what, Tuesday I'm good, but Tuesday rolls around and then something comes up, and then they tell you, okay, I'm sorry, Tuesday didn't work, so we'll do Saturday. Saturday rolls around, something else came up, you're not a priority, right? So if you see that happening, then that means they're not in it, and they're not going to be a good person to be in a serious relationship with.
Yeah, love that, Sean, and Corey as well. I think here, I would say first and foremost, if you know what the person's love language is, then you can really attack it in the appropriate manner as well. Because not all approaches will work with this individual person or persons being said. Number two is presence with a CE at the end is better than the NT at the end. Okay. Presence is always better than the present. So, look, people will always appreciate your full, undivided attention. So, if I know if I know I've only got a certain amount of hours of you per week, but you give me your full, undivided attention, you're not divided in your phone being on, and you're taking calls and meetings and emails and stuff like that during our time, then I see that you're appreciating my time. And I of course, maybe I might want a bit more time from you, but I would appreciate the fact that you're unadulterated with your time when you deal with me, right? So that now makes me appreciate you more. The problem is when people start spending time and their presence become present. So you start doing things that necessarily don't really fit the narrative of what we're trying to build. Do you know what I'm saying? But if you're fully invested in the time that we spend, I'm gonna feel it. and you're going to get the most out of it too, right? Because then you're going to be, I'm going to be less on your tail about, oh, we don't spend enough time. You're going to be able to focus on your work, because when you're here, you're here. You know what I mean? It's like, imagine I'm on YouTube with you guys right now doing 2.5 hours, but I'm tuned out half the time. Oh, what were we talking about, boys? Oh, my bad. What did you say, Corey? That bro, it's an insult. It's rude. And it's actually just really disparaging for the other person to be involved with. So just be present. You know what I'm saying? Schedule your time, as you said, Sean. Schedule your time, get your time in order, what you can do during the course of the week, and then just be present in that moment. And you'll realize you'll get so much more out of it as well. So yeah, definitely, I would say, if you're a professional, as Corey said, we're not asking you to change your job. No man is here. If the man is telling you to quit your job, that's not what we're asking for. Please don't come and quit your job just for anybody and them things there. But it's about working around those things and being fully invested in that time that you spend with that particular person, and they'll fully appreciate it as well. Again, back onto the same thing: attitudes and values. If they don't respect your profession, they don't respect the fact you have a job, let's not deal with these type of men. Okay, if these men say that you being successful is unattractive, it's time to move forward. Yeah, that's him. That's not you problem. That's a him problem. Keep moving forward. Don't settle for them type of men and cave into his pressures. Yeah. All right. Final question. What questions do men ask if they're genuinely intrigued? Mandem, what kind of questions are you asking when you're genuinely intrigued? Yeah, Sean. Tell us what kind of questions you ask. I bet you ask, like, what would you name yourself if you're a flavor? This boy out here.
Yeah, intrigued in what is the question?
If you was to cook a meal for me, what would you cook?
So, I think if we're going to ask questions, or I would ask questions to really get to know you, right? To ask you about things that you like, right? In terms of, really getting to know something that you like. And then if there's genuine interest, I think it's going to be beyond the question, because I might be a good communicator, or I might not be the best communicator. I think, again, don't look so much for the questions, but look for the answers, or look for the actions. I think that's going to really tell you if somebody is genuinely intrigued, because a man that, and this is just tying back to the topic, is if you want to avoid getting played, don't get so caught up in the words. You got to focus on the actions, right? Because I could be a wordsmith and I could hit you with some great questions and pull from your soul, but I could take all those answers and use them against you. So it's more so about what my actions are showing you, what my follow-up looks like. If I ask you a question and you tell me that you like lilies, and then the next date I bring you lilies, that's a check mark, right? And am I intentional about calling you back? Am I intentional about spending time with you? Right? If you tell me something that you like, if you tell me what your love language is, do I look to show you that? I think those are the things that are going to be better parallels to see what my genuine interest is versus me just asking you a question.
Love that, Sean. Corey, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, for me, it starts off first for me. I have to first like the person, so I have to learn about the person. So my question is going to be about things you like to do, who you are as a person, and then if I like who that person is, then I'll go into finding out how you are in a relationship. With that, I ask questions about relationships. I had a question about your previous relationships. I have never had a problem with doing that. One of my go-to questions is, tell me something. Tell me about the best relationship that you had and what made it the best relationship. Tell me what did this man do that kept a smile on your face during that relationship? And you have to be confident in asking a woman, because hearing that answer may be something that can deter you. But it could also be something that you'll know that you can do versus what you can't do. So this man said, if she says, hey, he used to pay for my rent every month, he used to do this, that, and other, it is all about her receiving. something that made her smile in that relationship, that's a flag for me. Okay, but if it's something that she says I was able to talk to him about anything, it was like mutual beneficial type of answers to those type of inquiries. So if I get that, then okay, I can say okay, this is what I can possibly build with, because they have that know-how of building, or have the know-how of communicating effectively in a relationship. So it's not something I have to so much as teach or push or something like that. So like I said, it really just starts off with the person first, and then it goes into the transitions into the relationship. If we're on the phone, we're talking, and I'm just keeping it about who you are as a person, I know a transition into that relationship. Just know that you have been friend zoned at that point. You are a friend to me at that point, and there won't be anything more, because one, I don't like so much where the interest is going for that. As far as who you are as a person, if I don't like who you are as a person, then we probably won't be talking that much on the line anyway. So that's just me.
Love that as well. Yeah, I mean, I think genuine interest is as much questions as it is, as Sean said and what you said, Corey, it's as it is, actions, and it's as well. It's intentionality. It's the energy for me. You should feel my intention and my intrigue from you. You know what I'm saying? And again, what you want to see is, as I am intrigued, as I am pursuing, you're also seeing my actions matching my words, right? So the kind of questions we ask, I'm gonna ask about you. I want to know about you and everything to do with you. That's the areas of what family, your faith. We're probably going to talk about finances. We're going to talk about your vision for the future. We're going to talk about your experiences that you've had. We're going to talk about, what's your hobbies and stuff like that. What you do in your spare time. What you do for a job, career wise. And those kind of things. Genuine intrigue doesn't stop. It's talk about curiosity killed a cat. It's the same way. It's like we're curious. When I like someone, I'm curious. I want to find out more about them. I want to understand them. And it will come through not just a question, but my energy towards you, my timing towards you, my consistency towards you. It should start filling all the different areas. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, you will hear it, you should feel it, and you should see it from me as well. If I'm intrigued by you as well. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of questions I'll ask if I'm intrigued by you. But yeah, just in case, if you're out there, don't get the intrigueness confused. My behavior and words should match as well. Yeah. Okay. It's been a good conversation, guys. It's been solid. I think it was a good session, especially the question and answers that we did, the Q&A. And there was some good stuff in there you guys shared as well. All right, Sean, I'm gonna let you do what you do best, bro. If you could summarize, and we us men will get to our beds.
Absolutely. So again, another great conversation. For all the ladies out there, thank you for truly listening to us, and hearing us out, and then asking some great questions. And thanks for everybody, all the comments, men and women alike. This was a great session. We learned a lot. I think the main thing that we walked away with today for the ladies who are watching, if you don't want to be played, put up boundaries, and don't be afraid to walk away. I think those are like two of the key messages, right? I think at the end of the day, you got to choose you first. And as much as we want you to be selfless, you got to be selfish first, and before you allow somebody to get the full benefit of all of you, right? So, vet these men that are coming in your lives, and allow their actions to speak as loudly as their words speak, right? There should be an alignment there. But again, the more we have these conversations, the more we look at ourselves, and look at ways to get better, the better relationships we will have with each other. So back to you, Coach.
Love that. Thank you so much again. Boys, you've been an absolute awesome unit. 3 hours well spent, man. You guys talked some real stuff, and honestly, yeah, it was good to have this conversation with you guys. We'll be back next week. I'll think of a topic, or maybe the guys might have a topic that comes to mind. We'll have a topic for you guys next Sunday. We'll go again. Maybe we'll have a Q&A at the end as well. I think I can see there's a lot of questions that are coming in late. The ladies obviously have a lot of questions to ask, sensible men. distinguished men. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So we'll give them another opportunity next week to discuss some more as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. You came strong 400. Thank you so much. Our biggest turnout so far for Distinguished Men panel. So it's great to see you guys, see you ladies and gents enjoying what we do. Please, next week, share this with somebody, bring someone along, invite them, brothers, sisters, uncles, young'uns, whatever. Get them to come on board, man. You know, this is what we want to do, and hopefully share some real good wisdom each time we come up on this screen for you guys. All right. It's been good. It's been blessed. Listen, the streets are cold out there. All right. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. There's not much I wouldn't do. So be careful out in those streets, baby.